1997 and became the game that defined a season and separated champions from second best. It's the one game that had a soul of its own and the one game you'd sell yours to win. Michigan, Ohio State, the great ones remember the game.
Even growing up in Ohio, I thought that I understood, but you don't understand until you're involved in that Michigan week, how everything is different.
I knew about the rivalry as I was growing up, especially watching Woody Hayes and Bo Schembechler.
There's a sign in the locker room, what have you done to help beat Michigan?
They'll forget the rest of the season, but they'll remember how you played in Ohio State.
Look at that. Oh, my goodness. One man. Goodbye. Hello, Heisman.
I returned that ball for a touchdown and struck the Heisman pose. It kind of put the nails in the coffin for the Buckeyes that day.
The sheer hatred between the two.
Once another player says your name, it's kind of personal.
It's a game where everybody's watching, so you know that if you're going to play well, people are going to remember you.
And who will be remembered in this 2000 edition of this classic matchup? Something that started over a century ago. One of the most storied rivalries in not all of just college football, but in all of sports. Our Burger King College Football Today brings us to the Shoe, Columbus, Ohio. It's Ohio State and Michigan set to do battle in the Big Ten. And hi again, everybody. I'm Brad Nessler. Welcome to a cold, blustery Columbus, Ohio. Again, this game has tremendous importance. The winner is guaranteed at least a share of the Big Ten championship. Both will need help to end up in Pasadena. Ohio State and Michigan, or is it Michigan, Ohio State? Well, that depends on which side of the border you call home. John Saunders and Terry Bowden are in New York, guys. Outside the Shoe in Columbus, Ohio, and you'd need a shoehorn to get in this place. There'll be close to 99,000, expecting a record crowd. The great names of yesteryear, Bo Schembechler, all the great matchups with Woody Hayes and Archie Griffin, a two-time Heisman winner. And, of course, we had the Tunnel of Pride. We've had Script, Ohio. We're set for the 97th time for this classic matchup of Michigan and Ohio State. My partner's Bob Greasy. He's been here and seen this one many times. Your son has played in it. We got great stars, Bob. Obviously, Henson and Terrell and Marquise Walker and Anthony Thomas from Michigan. On the other side, Belisari and Combs and Kenyon Rambo. You put all that together, I think those big eaters might have something to say about this one.
Nice head, partner.
Thank you.
I got to get one of those. But you're right. You know, they got all kinds of skill players, and they're going to have to come up big today to win. But the down in the trenches, where the big uglies are, you know, my old partner used to call them the big uglies.
Right.
Michigan's offensive line, one of the 2 or 3 best in the country, if not the best ever at Michigan. Defensively for Ohio State, their defensive line, some say, is the best defensive line in the country. It's going to be a great battle. Whoever wins that battle, the A train doesn't run without those mules.
That's right.
Whoever wins the line of scrimmage will probably win the ball game.
We'll watch the trenches. Our third man in our team is down in the trenches. Lynn Swan. Swanee?
Well, Brad, from my experience, we know what the guys will do who are the star players. But in a key rivalry game like this, expect the unexpected. Some player to come from out of nowhere and maybe be the star of the game. And also the history of the game. Lloyd Carr was mindful this week to tell his players that if there's a second on the clock and we're behind, there's always a chance you could win. John Cooper has said the same thing his team, and to come out and play relaxed football. This is one of the greatest rivalries in all of college football. And there are hundreds of alumni who have made plans to be here for this weekend to see if their favorite team can add a little bit more to this great history. Brad?
They started showing up here at 7 o'clock this morning for this matchup. And we'll kick it off in a minute. Told you the winner of this one will share the Big Ten championship, but the road to the Rose Bowl has a few bumps. As Purdue, if they beat Indiana, they're in. Ohio State needs to win this one and hope Purdue loses. Michigan needs to win and hope both Purdue and Northwestern lose. And Northwestern to get in would have to beat Illinois. Purdue would have to lose, and so would Ohio State. So that's how it looks, the road to Pasadena. Lloyd Carr has been there before and won a national championship, and he's 4-1 against Ohio State. That's a pretty darn good record. On the other side of the field, John Cooper has had to struggle through this series, and this is the 13th time he'll match up against this club, and he's 2-9-1, and nobody ever lets him forget it in Columbus. The Wolverines are 7-3, but they have lost 3 games by a total of 7 points. The Buckeyes lost a heartbreaker to Purdue. Minnesota really the only team that kind of handed it to them, or they'd be in even better shape. They're coming off a win over Illinois. The Wolverines beat Penn State last week. Steve Belisari says it's not just the Michigan game, it's a chance to get a ring. That's what it's all about again today. Michigan won the toss and deferred to the second half. So Ohio State will send Nate Clements and Jonathan Wells back deep. And Hayden Epstein will get us underway. On a cold day in Columbus. We had snow flurries this morning. Those have subsided for the time being. There is a little bit of wind, and the wind chill is in the teens. We don't expect it to ever get above freezing with a real temperature, so it's just the way it should be.
Lloyd Carr was talking about that early in the week, about the challenge of going to Columbus in Ohio Stadium in November on a very cold day, and he says, with the breath showing through the face mask of the football players, he says it can't get any better.
And the picture was perfect. You saw the smile on his face. We're underway. Nate Clements 2 yards deep will bring it. They're going to fake the end around, and Nate Clements is in the clear. He's got a man to beat. Across the 40, he might take it coast to coast. Clements down the sideline. Stays in bounds. No, he stepped out at the 20-yard line, but it's an 82-yard kick return. What a way to open.
Great call by John Cooper. Kenyon Rambo normally is the kickoff man. Clements just handles the punts, but he's in there on the opening kickoff of the game. He's going to fake a reverse, and this fools a lot of the Michigan players. He's going to step out.
Right there and barely. Got it to the 20-yard line. Nate Clements, possibly an All-American defensive back, as a kick returner, has ignited the crowd and set his offense up at the Michigan 20-yard line. Derek Combs banged up and knocked down. No gain on the play. Larry Foote in on the tackle. Let's check the Chile starting lineup for Ohio State. And here's the group up front. Clark, they say, is going to be another one of the great ones. At tackle, Gurr, LaCharles Bentley. Cooper calls him the best center he's ever had. Tompkins and Fleming round out the front wall. Derek Combs just carried there. He's their leading rusher. Martin's the lead man. Darnell Sanders, an excellent tight end. Vaness Provitt starts for Reggie Germany today, who's out and not even dressed. Kenyon Rambo is their big play man. And there he is in a slot to the top of your screen, and Belisari rolls that way. Steve throws it in the ground, intended for Rambo.
Unbalanced line. Ohio State will do that 4, 5, maybe 6 times a game.
Here's the defense for Michigan. They've struggled a little bit. Lazarus starts there today. Wilson at the nose, and Rumashek the defensive tackle. The linebacking core, Hobson will put some pressure on the quarterback. Brackens, Foote, and Coleman. And the secondary is a pretty good one. Whitley, Patman, Curry, Todd Howard tied for the Big Ten lead with interceptions. 6. He and Jamar Fletcher tops there. 3rd down and 10. 2 tight end set for Ohio State, trying to take advantage of the big kick return. Belisari over the middle. There's Sanders, the tight end, and he's got a first down, I think, at the 10-yard line. He's been one of the big play guys, Bob. He's got 5 touchdown catches already.
Yeah, inside the 20-yard line. This is something that's developed in the last 2 or 3 weeks. Belisari going to the tight end. Over on this side here, he just going to delay a little bit. Let the linebackers drop off. Nice play. Good safe call.
Not a first down, though. Inches short, and they're going to go for it.
I think this is a good call.
What a way to open the game. We're a minute and a half in, and it's 4th and inches, Ohio State.
I'd give it to the tailback behind that big fullback.
Martin lines up the up man in the eye. Wells is a load at tail. Send the tight end in motion, and here it comes. Wells has got the first, and he's got a bunch more. He's in. Touchdown, Ohio State. On 4th and inches, he goes 11 yards for the touchdown. Good call, partner.
Things couldn't have started off any better for the Buckeyes. Big kickoff return, a big pass on 3rd and long, and then a 4th and short for the touchdown.
Dan Stultz for the point after. And he missed it. Mark that one down. Missed extra point. The only flaw in the opening 2 minutes, though, for Ohio State. And a 4th and inches. Jonathan Wells goes 11 yards behind that big fullback for the score. 6-0 Buckeyes. Ohio State, an early touchdown. And Nate Clements is the guy that set it up. He'll be coming out to play defense, and he's going to be fired up when he gets out there. His 80-yard kick return set him up for the 4-play drive. Jonathan Wells did the honors. The extra point was no good. And Drew Henson waiting his chance. Stultz, who just missed the extra point, just shanked it. It wasn't touched. And he'll kick off to Walter Cross and Chris Perry. Line drive kick there. Going to be taken by one of the up men at about the 18-yard line. And Shanty Orr goes out. A flag flies in at the end of the play as Orr got out to the 37-yard line. Good return of 20.
Shanty Orr looks like he knew what to do with that ball.
I'd say he was a fullback in high school.
He's a linebacker now, but you're right.
A holding call on the return, so they're not going to have that excellent field position. We thought. Jim Lapatina, our referee. Drew Henson comes out, still only making his 7th start, but he's played a lot of football over 2 years, and he's had a sensational campaign. 3 interceptions last week, though. The first 3 he'd thrown after 193 without a pick. But he's a good one when he gets in a groove. He started very slowly last week and went 0 for 7 in the Penn State game, and then warmed up and finished with some pretty impressive numbers, and he's got his teammates huddled around him over there on the Michigan sideline.
You mentioned he shared time last year with Tom Brady. Never started a game, but played a lot. But this is the first time starting in Ohio Stadium against the Buckeyes.
David Terrell just came out of the huddle. Nate Clements let him have one as he got to the line of scrimmage. That's
just saying hello.
Just saying hello. Here's a give to Anthony Thomas. Knocked out of bounds, no gain. Matt Wilhelm, the middle linebacker. And Terrell and Clements are still yakking. Shades of Boston and Woodson, huh?
Shades of Boston and
Woodson.
Woodson, yeah. Clements. Well, it was a running play, and Terrell was going to go down, throw a block, and Clements ducked it.
I think they haven't seen the highlights of the guys that preceded him.
They'll settle down after a little bit.
A few hits to get rid of some of that adrenaline. 2nd down and 10. 3 wide out set for Henson. He's going to throw the slip screen. Walker in and out of his hands, and it was almost picked off. Marquise couldn't handle it. And Joe Cooper got a hand on it. Here's the Chili's starting lineup. The big uns up front. Backus and Hutchinson, both All-American candidates. Hutchinson, a Lombardi finalist. Brant, Goodwin, and Williams round out the front 5. Anthony Thomas, sensational year. Askew leads the way. Seymour's the tight end. Terrell and Walker, both big play wide receivers that can hit it from anywhere on the field. Anthony Thomas comes into this one with almost 1,500 yards rushing. And today a big day would put him number 1 all time. We'll develop that as we go. Right now it's Michigan 3rd down and 10. Cooper on a blitz. Henson stands in, and Terrell, and it batted, and it's intercepted. David Mitchell's got it for the Buckeyes. Mitchell going the other way. Inside the 20, and the ball comes loose. Ohio State will have it. Mitchell's 5th interception of the season, none bigger than this one.
Everything going in the favor of Ohio State early. The big kickoff, and then the deflection. Little blitz up front, single coverage downfield. The ball's a little high, batted in the air. Mitchell gets it. Watch Clements. Clements cuts in front of him. Mitchell, the other corner, is there, as you mentioned, his 5th pick. It hits him right in the face mask.
And Ohio State's great field position is right at the 15 this time, the 20 on their first drive. Here's Combs. No gain. He may have lost a yard.
Ohio State is 6th in the nation in turnover margin. They came into this game with 12 more takeaways than giveaways. That's their 13th, so they're plus 13 on the year.
That's amazing, and they can turn them into points in a hurry. They've proven that all season long. David Terrell still yakking over there on the sideline.
Terrell is getting a lot of attention after the interception. 2 and 3 defenders went at him to throw blocks at him when the ball was going the other way.
Here's a 2 tight end set for the Buckeyes. Play action. Belisari rolls. Got a man open open in the middle, and he missed him. Had his tight end, but he threw it behind him. Rumashek got some nice pressure. Sanders again was the intended receiver. Steve Belisari maybe had his best game as Ohio State's quarterback last week. They had to come from behind to beat Illinois. 12-7 as a starter. 12 touchdowns, 9 picks, virtually the identical statistics of a year ago at this time, but much more improved as far as his percentage of completions.
Cooper said, I want you to use your athleticism out here today. That's what you're in there for. If you can run it, take it down and go.
Here's a draw play to Combs. Fumble! Who's got it? Combs may have gotten back on top of it. I think he did. And that'll bring up 4th down and some more shoving going on down there here early in the first quarter.
I think what you're seeing early on with all the ball on the ground and the big plays on the kickoff is some nerves.
Yep.
Everybody's hyped up. They've been thinking about this. Everybody's been talking about biggest game of the year. You'll remember this the rest of your life, and you will. But that's just settle down. Little nerves here.
Stoltz will try a 37-yard field goal. He missed his extra point.
He's thinking, I got a chance to make up for that miss.
He was perfect last week against Illinois. From 37. And he's got it right downtown.
And he did.
And he is one excitable kicker. So Ohio State takes advantage of the interception. They tack 3 more on and lead by 9. 4 minutes in at the shoe, and Ohio State's jumped to a 9-0 lead. Stoltz, who just hit a 37-yard field goal, and as Bob said, made up for his missed extra point on the opening drive.
And it's been the special teams of Ohio State that has really contributed in a big way with the kickoff return and then the field goal.
David Terrell waiting for another chance. Had that pass skip off his hands that Mitchell took back to the 15-yard line to set up that field goal. Walter Cross and Chris Perry left and right. Perry, the big true freshman. And Stoltz to kick. Well, the Wolverines have spotted the Buckeyes in opening 9. This kick taken by Perry at the 14. Cartwheels his way out near the 30. Took a big hit and still got a nice return. Well, the game has opened up quickly. If you missed the opening kick, you missed one of the biggest plays of the year. They faked the end around, and Nate Clements takes it 80 yards down the sideline, barely bumped out of bounds on a 4th and inches. Jonathan Wells from 11 yards for the score. And then the interception as Terrell had it knocked up in the air. Mitchell took it back, and Stoltz knocked in the 37-yarder. That's where we stand, and we're only 4 minutes into this football game.
And the center of attention is that man right there for the Buckeye defense. They are knocking him every time they have an opportunity to hit him. They are hitting him.
At the 30. On 1st down, Anthony Thomas. All wrapped up. A yard gain. Matt Wilhelm, the middle linebacker, has made his 2nd tackle already, and he just gets better every week. Chili's defensive line for Ohio State, and they're a good one. They've been together a long time. 120 career total starts. There's the Ohio State linebacking core led by Wilhelm. Joe Cooper, the defensive captain. And in the secondary, Nate Clements, another one of the great corners in Ohio State history, with Nicky Dawson Mitchell. And Mitchell already got an interception today.
The 2 corners have already shown up big.
2nd down and long. Thomas on a toss, and Anthony Thomas nowhere to hide. It's that Ohio State defense that Bob and I talked about to open the game up.
Yep.
And they're playing like the defense that only gives up 92 yards a game on the ground.
There's a look up close. 2 of the best lines in the nation. Cooper, number 10, slides through. Pickett, 79, gets over there and gets a piece of the tackle.
They're number 1 in the Big Ten against the rush. They're playing like it.
Yeah, they're 1st or 2nd in every defensive category are the Buckeyes.
3rd down and 10. 3 wideouts. Bellamy joins Walker and Terrell. Buckeyes showing blitz. They're going to bring it. Henson flares it out to Thomas, and he's going to get a 1st down. Anthony Thomas down the sideline. Cuts back inside the 40. Anthony Thomas inside the 30. Can he take it the distance? He's going to go. Touchdown, Michigan. 70 yards.
Screen pass. Hutchinson's excited because he followed his block. Only the 12th reception of the
season. Looked like a harmless little swing pass, kind of a half a screen, and 70 yards later, it makes it a ball game. Epstein in for the point after. Kick is up and good. What a start to this football game.
I'll say. There you go. Here's the A train. He's going to slide out here. Watch as some of the offensive linemen are going to get out in front of him. You know, I've done these games, Brett, where the defense takes over and it's a defense game. Right there. Watch the block right. He's going to read the block. Now one more. Cuts back. And now it's a foot race. He outruns him.
And a great stiff arm of Mitchell.
A-Train had a chance last year, if he had wanted to go into the NFL draft. A lot of people tried to convince him. He's married. He's got a child. Every reason to leave, but he wanted to come back and get his degree because he felt the degree would give insurance to his family for their future. And what an asset. What a decision. What a great individual he's been for this ball club. A great leader on this team, not just a great player.
Yeah, good call, Swanee. And the first of 5 in his family to become a college graduate and soon to be. And what a run on a 70-yard screen pass. Michigan's offense can put up some big plays. And they just put up a huge one because this game was completely in the hands of the Scarlet and Gray. And Lloyd's still smiling.
He's smiling. You know, he knows that this game is going to be decided in the fourth quarter.
Right.
Not in the first half of the first quarter.
John Cooper told his troops, I want you to go out, don't be tight, go out and have as much fun as you can because you'll remember it forever. And Lloyd Carr said, I don't care if it's on the road or at Michigan Stadium, this is the most fun you can have coaching. This time Nate Clements will have to take a knee. Ohio State will work from the 20. College football on ABC Sports brought to you by Ford F-Series. The best-selling trucks are built Ford tough. Pacific Life, annuities, insurance, investments. Use the power of Pacific Life. Chili's Ranch Hand Filet, tender, juicy, flame broiled, served on a bed of awesome blossom strings. And MSN, everything you need to feel at home on the web, all in one place. And the bands got together over at St. John's for the fans this morning. Both the Michigan and Ohio State bands were there. So was Mrs. Steinbrenner. George in attendance today as well. Here's Combs on a handoff, and Derek's just not getting any running room so far.
They named the band room after...
That's right.
Well, the Dell Game Solutions, offensively for Ohio State, they got to take advantage of a very young Michigan defense. They lost 6 starters from last year's team. Defensively, they got to stuff the run, Michigan does, and force Belisari to win the ball game.
They've stuffed the run so far, Bob. 4 carries for Combs for -4 yards. Here's Belisari on the roll. Pumps once, now throws a streak on the sideline and got it there at the 40. Probert holds on, a 19-yard pickup. And Van Ness Probert a starter today because Reggie Germany's not even dressed with an infection in his leg. He would be the normal wide receiver.
Yeah, Probert's a pretty good player in his own right, although the top 4 receivers for Ohio State are all seniors. Nice throw over Whitley and beside Patman on the run. This is a good throw.
That had to have a combination of touch and some zip both.
Yeah.
Out near the 40. Cascio and Carter in as the wide receivers now. And it's Combs again hitting the backfield. And he's not finding any running room. He's playing on a bad ankle as Derek Combs, but quite frankly, there are no holes right now to run through. The only hole they've had on the ground is on the touchdown run by Jonathan Wells.
Cooper's offense has got 9 points, but only 30 yards of total offense. They've had great field position.
11. Set up by the kick return and then the interception. Ohio State knows how to take advantage of turnovers as they've done in this game. They've had 18 scores on 28 opponent turnovers this year. On a 2nd and 11, Belisari throws too wide. Intended for Drew Carter. Incomplete. It'll bring up 3rd down and long. Let's check in with Swanee.
Well, Brad, we know the big play wide receivers for Ohio State are Kenyon Rambo. He's got the speed. He'll stretch that defense wide open, even though he's nursing a little bit of a sprained knee. And the other guy is number 13, Chad Cascio. He's become the guy that Steve Belisario looks for. He has great confidence. He'll get inside the slot and make good plays. The only downfall is that the wide receivers haven't gotten into the end zone. Between Cascio and Rambo, there are only 5 touchdowns.
They're both out there. Let's see who he goes to. Swanee will work from the shotgun. 3rd down, 11. Cassio's the slot man. He's going to go to Rambo. High, though, and incomplete. Todd Howard was covering, but nobody could get a hand on that one.
Good coverage, and Rambo is working on a sore knee. They've officially described it as a sprained knee. He kind of went down and ran an easy route. By that I mean he got jammed. Watch him, he's going to get jammed. Well, he didn't get jammed very much, but he just kind of ran down and found an open area instead of running where maybe he should have been going. The ball was thrown down the field and a little bit high.
So B.J. Sander to punt. Ronald Bellamy waits back at the 20. Sander averaging a little over 42 a kick. Boy, they're sure lining everybody up. Finally have them set. Oh, that's why they had so many people lined up. The punt is blocked, but Joe Cooper comes out of the pile with a football. And Cooper is all the way to the 43-yard line.
It's a first down.
Joe Cooper, the defensive captain, took a stuffed punt and turned it into a first down. Brandon Williams, I think, is the guy that stuffed it.
I've seen more strange things happen in the first half of this quarter. Right up the middle. And then Williams comes around the outside. Cooper is right there to pick it up.
And he turns into a fullback.
Well, he didn't get that number for nothing. He was a running back in high school and just kept the number.
What a crazy play. First down, Ohio State. Belisari to throw on first down. Intercepted. Penalty markers down, but Larry Foote, the linebacker's going the other way. But again, a penalty marker at the 40-yard line. So we'll let Jim Lapatina and the officials sort this one out. Thrown where you might expect defensive holding.
Yeah, but I don't see anything.
I don't either.
Ineligible receiver downfield on the offense. A penalty to refuse.
Yeah, there was no contact downfield at all with any of the receivers.
So Foote with the interception. That's his 2nd of the year. And Michigan's got it right back.
He's trying to hit a curl route to the outside. Trying to hit this. The linebacker's going to come over from inside and pick it off.
So now Michigan
linebacker moves right there and gets it.
Michigan trailing by 3, and they've got the ball in great shape just outside Ohio State's 42-yard line. Henson, draw play. Thomas hit in the backfield by Cooper. Joe Cooper having a great start to this game. Coming up next, ECS Bowl bids are on the line. Joey Harrington, at number 6 Oregon, needs a win for a trip to the Rose Bowl. They got Oregon State at home. That isn't going to be easy. Indiana and Purdue. Can the Boilermakers make it to Pasadena? Number 1 Oklahoma, South Carolina and Clemson. And then tonight, don't forget the big battle in Tallahassee. And we don't mean the presidential race. We're talking about number 4 Florida and number 3 Florida State. It is a great day of football on ABC.
You got that right.
2nd down and 12. Back at the 45. Henson, plenty of time. Waits and fires deep. Got a man open. Terrell, did he make the catch? He did. Had to keep a foot in, and he got it down at the 21-yard line.
Only a strong-arm baseball-type quarterback could have gotten that ball there.
That was a long throw.
Across the field. Terrell was open only because the flow of the play went the other way. He threw that all the way back across field. Here he is. Clements is covering him, and Clements is going to kind of go away from him. And Doss, number 2, they think it's going the other side. He raises his hand and says, hey, if you can get it here, I'll catch it.
And he could, and he did.
That's true.
24-yard pickup. First down, Michigan at the Buckeye 21. 2 tight ends set. And they fake it to Thomas. Henson waits, goes to the end zone. Terrell, touchdown, Michigan.
Unbelievable.
He had 2 men on him, and he threw another one of those laser shots.
Well, only a strong-arm quarterback with a lot of time can complete this one.
Epstein in for the point after. And Michigan just that quickly takes the lead. They spotted Ohio State 9 points. They storm back a 70-yard screen pass, and now the big shot to David Terrell on back-to-back plays, the second one for a touchdown. Michigan 14, Ohio State 9. 6:14 remaining in the quarter, and David Terrell has just moved into the number 2 spot all time in Michigan's career reception yearbook, right behind AC Anthony Carter, and he did it with some flair. He caught that long cross-field pass, kept a foot down, then he crossed the end zone and got in for the touchdown. Jonathan Wells on the kick return from the 1, and Wells up the sideline, and he got it out. Nice run back to the 31-yard line.
Let's go back and take a look at the touchdown. Here's Terrell up here. He's going to go down and clear it out and come all the way across. The reason he's got time to do that is because the quarterback has time to roll out. Rolls all the way to his right. Now look what he's doing. He's throwing the ball all the way back over here to the receiver that's running away from 2 defenders. You got to have a strong arm and a lot of time.
Wells in as a tailback now for the Buckeyes, and here he comes on a counter and showing the strength he showed against Illinois when he had his career-high game. He rips it out to about the 38-yard line, a pickup of 5. There's the quarterback comparison so far. Steve Belisari has struggled, and Drew Henson's got 115 yards and 2 touchdowns in the first 9 minutes.
Are you enjoying this?
I haven't had this much fun in 9 minutes in a long time.
Hey, I've done 10 or 11 of these games, and I can remember too many of them that ended up 13-10.
Right, we got 14-9 already.
Yeah.
Wells, no gain on that one. Julius Curry came in from the secondary to help out on the stop. Victor Hobson, the defensive end / outside linebacker, in on it as well.
Well, I mentioned in the Dell Game Solutions how this Michigan defense is very young and inexperienced. Probably the weakest defense that Ohio State has played against, at least in the last 9 or 10 years.
Westbrooks and Wells now flanking Belisari in the shotgun with 3 wideouts on a 3rd and 5. Steve pumps, now throws, complete across the 45 to the 46 to Kenyon Rambo. And a pickup of 9 on 3rd and 5.
Well, that's the first time he's had a 3rd down less than 10 yards. The other 3 were either 10 yards or more. Rambo at the top of the picture. Little stutter step. Not doing much, but just stuttering, and then the timing, working it out with the quarterback. He's got that sore knee. It remains to be seen how fast he's going to be running.
At the 46, first down. Play action, Belisari in trouble, got away from it. He's got room up the sideline. And he gets hammered from behind at the 44-yard line, but he picked up 9 yards.
And this is the thing that John Cooper, talking with him yesterday, wanted Belisari to do. If the pocket breaks down, don't take the sack. Get out and use your athletic ability.
They spent a year with him trying to tell him to stay in the pocket, not be in such a hurry.
Yeah.
Now they know
Yeah.
what they got, and
Yeah.
you're right.
Now he wants to go back and use some of that spontaneity, that improvise a little bit. Just
Right.
take off.
First down for Steve. He got more than 9. He got 10 to the 43-yard line. Belisari going to keep this one too, and he's hit and swarmed under. First play was by Carl Diggs, and then help from his friends. Check in with Swanee.
Well, Brad, you're talking about Belisari keeping the ball and being more of an impact. Jim Herman wants him to have the ball in his hands, and he wants to force Belisari to try and beat him, especially in those 3rd and long situations. Although they completed that pass to Kenyon Rambo, on third down situations, Ohio State has not been really strong. They come into this ball game with only a 37% completion rate on third down conversions. That's not great. So what Herman wants to continue to do is force Belisari to try and beat them, and he thinks his defense can handle that.
And last year they struggled against Michigan on third down. They were 5 for 15, 33% last year.
They're near the bottom in the league in converting third downs.
Belisari with a flag down is going to get buried again. And he got back to the original line of scrimmage, maybe. Larry Stevens and Sean Lazarus, and a penalty marker. It'll be a holding call on Ohio State.
Michigan will play a lot of players defensively. And Stevens is a true freshman in there, rotating in the fourth series, in the first quarter even. He's in the ballgame.
3:09 left in the quarter while they sort out the penalty. We got a question for you. Great game coming up tonight that Brent and Gary and Jack will call. Florida and Florida State, and of course Chris Wenke, as everybody knows, is 28 years old and is having a sensational season. Our online poll today: should age be a factor in Heisman consideration? We all got together and talked about this at our meeting last night, so we thought we'd throw it out there for you today. You can vote now at ESPN.com, keyword BCS, and we'll have our results coming up in the fourth quarter.
The oldest Heisman Trophy winner, Billy Sims, was 23, barely 23.
At Oklahoma.
You mentioned Chris Wenke, 28 years old. And his other rivals are a lot less than that. Chris is probably older than half of the starting quarterbacks in the NFL.
Right.
But
something to think about.
Yeah, something to think about.
Second down and 22 coming up after the holding penalty. Provett and Rambo trying out there to the top of your screen. Belisari's been getting some pressure on this series.
I got to go back here then.
And now they're going to change the line of scrimmage again. Got to get the right spot to walk it off. Now they set it down at the 42-yard line.
Dave Perry, the head of officials for the Big Ten and for really all of college football, stopped by, say hello. He said the Big Ten will have three officials, three groups doing bowl games this year.
Second and 25 now after they set it up. Belisari had it tipped at the line of scrimmage and knocked down. And it was Dan Rumashek who got a paw on it, a big defensive end.
Right here. There you go. Penetration helped that, and good vision by the defensive lineman Rumashek. I'll tell you what, I don't think defensive linemen do that enough. As being an ex-quarterback, it drives the quarterback nuts when the guy gets in your face and you got a guy open and the lineman raises his arms and knocks it down.
Here's a play you hate to have as a quarterback. 3rd and 25. Unless you throw a pass like that. He's out of bounds anyway. A little bit wide. Van As Provett made the catch. It would have been a little short of the first down, about 3 yards short.
Made a heck of a catch.
Yeah, he did.
Provett releases inside of Howard, then breaks back to the outside.
Yep, it's too far out.
Yep.
So it's punting time. Ohio State had something going. Looked like they could move it down and try to at least get 3. It's not going to happen. And Stoltz to punt. And remember what happened? The last punt wasn't Stoltz in there kicking. It was Sanders. And he had it swallowed under, and then Joe Cooper took it for a first down run.
Usually a team will have one good opportunity to block a punt. I think Michigan has probably used that.
Yep.
They may save that same punt block for later in the game.
Not a great kick, but it's going to take a good bounce and goes out of bounds at the 22-yard line. Swanee?
Brad, in a big game like this, attitude means a lot. And when David Terrell took the field in the early part of this ball game, he walked through the secondary, and that set the tone. A lot of action, a lot of pushing and shoving. But what makes him great is he is an active receiver without the football. Always looking for the opportunity, always trying to put himself in position to make a play. And so far in this ball game, he has set the tone with an attitude and made the play.
That he has. You and I, Bob, saw him in the Orange Bowl last year. have a coming out party. His bowl party was 150 yards and 3 touchdowns receiving. And he's off to a good start today. Flags down as Anthony Thomas is into the secondary again. Thomas with Terrell blocking is all the way to midfield, and he's going to get run down by Ryan Pickett, who didn't give up on the play from his defensive tackle spot. But again, flags at the line of scrimmage. And I think it's going against Michigan because Drew Henson's still standing back there where he would have to re-huddle his troops.
Yeah, he knows.
Illegal procedure on the Wolverine.
Boy, that's a killer.
Yep.
It's not holding or anything, tripping or anything like that. Just somebody moved or didn't line up properly.
And it wastes a 36-yard run by Anthony Thomas.
I don't think they had enough guys lined up on the line of scrimmage.
I don't think they had 7. I think it's illegal formation. You're right.
They had too many guys off. You got to have 7 on the line of scrimmage. Great blocking by Askew and the offensive line. That'd drive a coach nuts right there.
So instead of a first down in Ohio State territory, you can move it all the way back to the 17-yard line. 1st and 15. Marquise Walker in motion. Here's a give to Perry. Giving Anthony Thomas a little breather after that long run by Thomas. And Perry gets a couple. Let's check in with John Saunders in New York. John?
Brad, it's time for the Burger King update. Northwestern needs Purdue and Ohio State to lose to make it to the Rose Bowl. Damian Anderson helping do his piece. 21 yards on the touchdown run. They've added another touchdown and now lead the Illini 14-0.
Well, Northwestern, as we told you, needs that one, and they need a bunch of help, but they're off to the start they were looking for.
They've had a great year no matter what happens.
That's true. 2nd down, 13. Here's a screen to Walker. Last time he dropped it, this time he holds it. And Marquise Walker across the 40 and out to the 42-yard line.
Well, there is no doubt this offense of the Wolverines has a lot of weapons. Maybe one of the best offensive lines ever. They've got a quarterback that can play. They've got a running back, A-Train, that can carry it, and 2 wide receivers that can light it up.
Yeah, you can't just sit and worry about Terrell because number 4 will take it to the house on you, too.
I think the first guy you've got to stop is Terrell. I mean, he is something special.
There he is, coming out to the near side to meet Nate Clements. Since that interception, Drew Henson's 4 for 4. Here's the counter to Thomas, tripped up. Nice play by Joe Cooper and Matt Wilhelm, the linebackers. Well, it's all coming down to one final night. 2 contestants, one really big surprise. The Who Wants to Be a Millionaire Celebrity Edition. This is one you don't want to miss. Tomorrow at 9, 8 Central on ABC. '97th edition of Ohio State and Michigan from Columbus. With Bob Greasy and Lynn Swan, I'm Brad Nessler. Nice to have you with us on a cold November afternoon. Henson to throw. Throws a shot to Terrell. Man, he's got a gun. Out of bounds at the 45, 1st down.
And you're exactly right. I mean, this ball is not complete unless you have a gun to get it in there. Great protection, only a 3-man route. Going to release inside. Now, you got to get it there quickly between the 2 defenders, and he does before Nicky knocks him out of bounds.
Drew Henson moves him right down the field again, back into Buckeye territory at the 40-yard line. And there's the matchup we've been watching all day.
Yep.
Play fake to Thomas. Henson wanted to throw either back a screen to the near side or to go to his tight end, and Ohio State blew that up. Kenny Peterson had different ideas.
Yeah, you're right. There was a little throwback in mind there, but everybody was covered. And Henson does a nice job of just getting rid of the football.
That's one of those where everybody watched film all week and both knew what they were going to do. It just didn't happen.
Yep.
They've thrown 4 passes toward Terrell. 1 skipped off his hands. He's caught the other 3, including a touchdown. 2nd and 10. Everybody in tight, including the wide receivers. And here comes the blitz Flags down. Screen pass to Thomas. Stays on his feet. Oh, man, what a shot he took at the end of that play. A brutal hit.
Will Smith.
Will Smith.
Yeah, there's the guy that hit him. But Smith may have also been offsides.
Clements and Terrell still talking at the line of scrimmage. They're having a nice conversation again. Boy, Anthony Thomas kept his footing and paid the price for it. Here's the call.
We have 2 fouls on the play. Offside, defense, holding, offense. Most penalties offset, still second down.
Did all that for nothing. Watch this hit at the end of this play. Oh, man. That'll bring out the Advil.
Yeah, I don't think you throw a flag there on Smith. I think it's he was right down the sideline, and that's a legitimate hit.
Everybody going 100 miles an hour. 24 seconds remaining in the quarter. Anthony Thomas only has 1 yard rushing, but he's got a 70-yard touchdown on a catch and a screen pass. It's been tough sledding for both backfields so far, and it's the same here on 2nd and 10.
Michigan has had trouble running in this game against the Buckeyes the last 4 years, and that Fred Puggage, the defensive coordinator, so that's exactly what I want to do again. Shut them down on the run and force them to throw. Don't give them a two-way street.
It was a heck of a 15 minutes, wasn't it? It's 14-9 Michigan. An ABC Sports presentation of college football will continue after this message and a word from our ABC stations. Late a quarter in Columbus, Michigan leading 14-9 after Ohio State had a 9-0 lead in the opening few minutes, and the statistics tell part of the story in that Michigan's had a good time passing the ball. Both teams have a turnover. Remember, Nate Clemenceau had an 80-yard kick return, and Ohio State with their interception return went 22 yards, so that set their offense up and set them up with great field position to get the 9 points they've got.
They got the first 2 possessions on the Michigan 20-yard line and then on the Michigan 15.
Exactly.
That's where they got their points.
All 3 of Michigan's third downs have been 3rd and 10, and they've got another at the Buckeye 40 to start the second quarter. 3 wide out grouped for Henson. Drew stands in and throws it out. Incomplete, intended for Terrell. And Wilhelm came with a little pressure that time, and Henson got his jersey dirty. So Michigan's got to give it up. Aiden Epstein, who does both the kicking and the punting, and in fact is a Ray Guy finalist for the Punters Award. You see his numbers, and they're a man short on their punt team. Hustle him out there, though.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be him when I went back to the bench.
Me neither. There's Nate Clements, who already had a great kick return in this game. Probably won't get a chance to handle this unless Epstein just misses it. And he almost did miss it. Off the side of his foot, Nate's going to get it on the bounce. Gutsy move. And he tiptoes out of bounds at the 17-yard line as we check in New York with John Saunders.
Brad, it's been a tough day for Joe Paterno, but Penn State against Michigan State today. Rashard Casey, the passes gets tripped up by Eddie Drummond, and it's caught by Kenny Watson, who takes it for the touchdown. That was 21-0. 28-0 is the way things stand right now. Back to you.
Well, Joe's going to have to wait for the record for next year, but that would be a nice capper to a very disappointing season in many ways, and it's been a tough season for him emotionally. Here's the toss to Combs, who's had trouble running today. This time he found a little bit of room, picked up about 4 out to the 21-yard line. So far in this game, Ohio State jumped to the early lead after the kick return on 4th and inches. Jonathan Wells 11 yards to make it 6-0 with a missed extra point. They added a field goal to make it 9-0. Then Michigan on a 3rd and long, a 70-yard screen pass for a touchdown for Anthony Thomas. And then Drew Henson warmed up the next time he had the ball and zipped a couple of David Terrell, including a touchdown. That's where we are at 14-9. Sanders, the tight end, across the 30 with a first down. Steve Balisari knows what his trump card is right now, doesn't he?
You know, your receivers are hurting. I mean, it was last week in the second half of the Illinois game. You got Germany was out and Rambo was injured, and you've got these other guys in there. You go to your tight end and your two backs. The two backs caught a number of passes last week. They hadn't been using the backs all year.
Jonathan Wells had a career high catch, 5 for 50 yards, including a big one late in that game that kept the drive alive. Combs wrapped up in the backfield. Patman comes up from the secondary, and he makes the stop. Wayne came in with 71 tackles on the season. Monday Night Football should be a good one. A must-win for the Washington Redskins, and Trent Green and that high-powered St. Louis offense has Marshall Faulk back as a starter. It ought to be a dandy. Washington, St. Louis, Monday Night Football, 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific on ABC.
Well, that should be a good one.
They've had nothing but good ones.
And that's the truth. I had to stay up and watch. I stayed up about 1 o'clock last week watching that one.
I was with you.
Yeah.
And your kid put on quite a gutsy performance. Here's a throw by Balisari. Not for about 8 yards. Got it to Drew Carter. And now Steve's put back-to-back passes together.
Balisari rolling to his left. He's a left-handed thrower. Chuck Stobert, the offensive coordinator, doing a nice job of mixing the run and the pass.
Steve's numbers so far. He's never going to be one of those guys that's a 75% passer, I don't think. And he's always going to have some interceptions mixed in there because he takes some chances.
Yeah. Well, that's what you want. You want to make some plays, but you want to eliminate mistakes. 3rd down and 2.
Tight end in motion. And to give to Combs, and he's going down, no gain. Hobson tracked him down from behind. That's a good defensive play, and it's going to force a punt.
It's an aggressive defensive play because Michigan was across the line of scrimmage and into the backfield just as the ball was being snapped. That was a nice call, Jim Herman, defensive coordinator.
So 4th down and 4. Sanders had 1 block today, remember. Ronald Bellamy is back in punt return formation on the other end. Sanders had 3 blocked already this year, as a matter of fact.
Both teams have all of the gimmick, all the trick plays ready to go. And we've seen some of them already.
And here's one right here, Bob. Good call. Oh, and he dropped the ball. Donnie Nicky hit him right in the hands.
You can't do this play when you're on the other side of the 50 because everybody will be ready for it. You've got to take a chance when you call the play. It was there. It just wasn't executed properly.
This is why Donnie Nicky's a safety and not a wide receiver. Sander put it right on him. It would have been a 1st down. He dropped it. And Michigan, great field position when we come back. Aflac trivia question this week. Which 2 Ohio natives became Heisman Trophy winners at Michigan? And we'll have the answer for you in a few minutes. Think that one over.
That's not that hard now. We've had some hard ones through the year here.
You get them all.
I don't get them all. I mean, that one I got.
Well, Michigan now, great opportunity after the fake punt went awry. They've got it at the 38-yard line.
Single coverage on the outside receivers.
Big play on 1st down, maybe. Here comes an end around.
Yep.
Ronald Bellamy. Bellamy got a block. Got the corner. And still on his feet. He's down to the 25-yard line.
Yeah, that just smelled of some kind of gimmick or big play try by Michigan because you're on the positive side of the 50.
You just got a gift.
You just had a turnover from the other side. They're down a little bit. Try something. Come out with some gimmick play. And it was a reverse. Mitchell, with that great speed, slowed him up, or he would have gained another 20 yards down the sideline.
So with 11:15 left in the half, Michigan with the lead and the ball inside the Buckeye 25. Terrell to the near side. And it's Anthony Thomas. Got it, about 2, maybe 3. Joe Brown in on the tackle.
That's his 7th carry, and he's got 4 yards. So the defense of the Buckeyes have shut him down as they have every year they shut down that Michigan running game.
Best 2 runs of the day. One was Wells for the touchdown on 4th and inches, and one was that end around by Bellamy. Otherwise, neither back's gotten much.
Yeah, those 2 defensive tackles in there, Pickett and Collins, both weigh around 290.
Depends on what time of day you weigh them.
Yeah, we talked.
That's what Mike told us the other day.
Mike Collins. Yeah.
Depends on how big breakfast was.
Yeah.
2nd and 8. Oh, Henson's hammered as he throws, and he got it out to Terrell anyway. Derek Ross came on a blitz from the secondary, and another great throw by Henson.
And David Terrell just runs a very simple but very precise route to the outside. One of the difficulties of handling this Michigan offense is that when you get David Terrell playing this well and you get Walker making plays, even though Anthony Thomas is not running the ball well, he comes up with a big short pass play. You don't know which way to go. The guessing game is all over. You've got to cover the whole field, and it creates more opportunities for the Michigan offense when you have to play that wide and that loose.
Of the 10 passes Henson's thrown, he's aimed 6 of them at number 1. Here's the toss sweep. Thomas waiting for a block. Great job by the Buckeye defense to blow that up. Mike Doss from his safety spot.
And Brent Johnson, the defensive end on that side, getting upfield. Get the good penetration. You couldn't get the corner turned. That's Seymour, number 81, blocking on 60. Johnson right there. He gets there a little late, but that was his job. Not let him turn the corner and not get the penetration into the backfield.
You don't see this very often. Anthony Thomas -2. I think Derek Combs is minus on his carries for Ohio State the other way. Hayden Epstein's going to try a 38-yard field goal. From the left hash, and it's a fake. Here comes John Navarre, the quarterback. He didn't get the first down. Mike Doss made a play a yard short.
Yeah, like I said, these coaches got all the trick plays ready to go today. They haven't used them all year long. They've been working on them all year in summer camp, and now all year. Now it's the last game. All right, we'll have them ready to go.
Like a big bag of Halloween candy, you save all the stuff you love for the last day.
And you just have to have the right opportunity. That field goal was just long enough that Lloyd didn't feel good enough about letting him kick it. Now, John on the other, Cooper, he's tried some too already.
So one team fakes a field goal, one team fakes a punt. They both come up short. Navarre was only about 2 feet short.
He's the backup quarterback.
Now Ohio State takes over again. As the sun actually tries to peep through, so does Derek Combs down the sideline. There's the best run of the day. Julius Curry knocked him out of bounds, but he got 24 yards.
John was telling us yesterday we need a healthy Combs to play today.
Nursing a sore ankle, didn't look like it on this play.
Oh, there's a nice job of getting up through. There's a little crease there. He had the quickness and speed to get through it before it closed.
And that put him on the plus side, because before that carry, he was -2. In fact, both starting tailbacks had 8 rushes for minus yardage until Combs just broke that one loose. Here's Belisari. This is a straight quarterback run, and it didn't go anywhere.
I think that was like an inside option that got blown up with the penetration by one of the defensive guys.
Eric Wilson is the guy that made the hit. Coming up on Thanksgiving Saturday, ABC Sports has great college football action. 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 Pacific. Depending on what happens today, a BCS berth could be on the line for Bob Davie and number 11 Notre Dame. They battle USC. It's all here on ABC Sports, home of the Bowl Championship Series. Keith will bring you that one.
Yep. For Notre Dame to get a BCS be eligible, they have to be be 9-2, and be in the top 10 of the BCS.
Got to win today too. Here's Belisari overthrowing Sanders, his tight end, who really had a pretty good gain on it. And the natives getting a little restless. That was a wide open tight end.
Sometimes the shorter throws are sometimes the toughest ones. Got to have that feel. Have that touch.
8:35 left. Things have calmed down a little bit. The first quarter was up and down the field. The second quarter, though, they have pulled all the plugs out. There hasn't been any scoring in this quarter yet. Third down and 13 coming up. You see the average. That's what Michigan was hoping to force Ohio State into all day, and they've done it.
They've had 5 third downs longer than 10 yards, and that's what you like defensively.
Belisari long for his tailback, incomplete. Foot, who had an interception, was with him foot for foot out there in the coverage, incomplete. And so Ohio State has to give it up. They make a nice defensive stop, actually a special teams play to prevent the fake field goal from getting a first down, but they can't do anything with it on offense.
Everything's kind of settled down now. All the nerves are settled into place, and sitting down getting some football that we thought we'd get.
Yep. There's Bellamy waiting on Sanders' punt. His first attempt was blocked. Second one was a fake, and he threw a pretty good pass to Donnie Nicky, who dropped it.
Now here's Nicky right here, and it was open. Nicky just dropped it.
This might be the first time today Sander actually kicks one and it goes somewhere. It didn't go very well.
He's lined up 3 times.
Bellamy with a fair catch at the 24-yard line. 39-yard kick and no return. Drew Henson snapping it back up. His team leads by 5. 2 left in the half, 14-9 Michigan. Brad Nessler, Bob Griese back with you on a cool day, and Big Ten championship, with all due respect to your Boilermakers, might be riding on this one.
Things have to happen, but you know, this game is always exciting. It's always the same. It's whether it's a defensive struggle or whether it's an offensive battle. It's always a good game, and
this one came out full blast.
Yeah, it did.
Right from the opening kick. Now it's 1st and 10 for the Wolverines with the lead from their own 24-yard line. Nice play fake by Drew Henson. Wants it all. Aims and fires for Terrell into double coverage. Almost made the catch. Donnie Nicky, nice play. Coming over from the safety spot to help break it up.
Looks like Terrell, he is slow getting up. That was a one-man route. That was back when, like on the school ground, back when we were playing the kids. Yeah, everybody blocks. My best receiver, you go long, and there were 2 guys. I'm going to throw it as far as I can. Everybody else stayed in and blocked. That's a great throw.
We didn't call it max protection then. We just said, don't let anybody in here.
Yeah.
And you run all the way out to the Buick out there. We're going to try to fire one down to you.
I mean, that ball was right on the money.
And Terrell shaking up on the play. Want to throw a slip screen. He finally did. He pump faked it and got it to Marquise Walker. And that one's blown up by Mike Doss again, the safety. Now they've used that play 3 times today. They've completed it twice, but really only once was it very effective.
Yeah, this is a very good defense Ohio State has. They are outstanding. They have 7 starters back from a defense that are 8th in the nation in scoring defense.
David Terrell comes back in after 1 play. And Bellamy goes out, and it's 3rd down and 6. He's been the go-to man throughout the year and the day. He and Walker go out to the left, and Anthony Thomas split out as a wide receiver to the right, and Ohio State's going to take a timeout. Buckeyes call time with 7:32 remaining in the half. And Henson will go over and huddle with the coaches. While the defense comes over, Joe Cooper right there in the middle of it. The defensive captains had a whale of a first half. This gives us time to talk about our Aflac trivia question. Earlier we asked you which 2 Ohio natives became Heisman Trophy winners at Michigan. We gave you time to think it over. And the answer, Desmond Howard out of Cleveland and Charles Woodson from Fremont, the 91 and 97 Heisman Trophy winners. And I know you and Keith called that game with that pose of Desmond's on the left side there.
I about fell off my stool when Keith says, "Hello, Heisman." I looked at him, and he just gave me a big grin.
And that punt return, first Keith said, "Goodbye." And then he said, "Hello, Heisman."
There's a lot of memories in this series, I'll tell you.
Now, they started it back in 1897. And 83 consecutive years now it's been running. They missed a few in the middle there, but the 97th meeting You know what's amazing is Michigan Stadium, they played their dedication game at the Big House against Ohio State in 1927. They did the same thing here at Ohio Stadium. In the shoe, the dedication game was against Michigan in 1922. So for every big event, there's a big game, and this is the game if you grew up in Big Ten country. And long yardage for both teams today on third downs. And Michigan will have to earn this one too. Third down 6. Bullard thinking about a blitz. So is Doss.
Yeah, right here.
And they back out of it a little bit. Henson with some pressure though. Marquise Walker almost had a one-handed catch, and Henson got nailed by Clinton Wayne.
Well, that was a game plan coming in. Pressure on Henson, and don't give him a lot of time to throw. Drew held on as long as he could, waiting for the receiver who was single covered on the outside. Waiting, break. And then he threw it. He couldn't wait any longer. And the pressure got to him.
Epstein, not a very good first punt. And Nate Clements, we know what he's done already as a kick returner. He had an 83-yard punt return once this year, too. And he's going to stay out of the way of this one. Rolls dead at about the 29-yard line. That's where the Buckeyes will have it, trailing 14-9 when we come back. 9 it remains. 14-9 it remains, Michigan. And the last 4 possessions for Ohio State, an interception, a punt, one that was on downs on the fake punt, and then they had to kick again.
After scoring on their first 2 drives.
They work from their own 29. Here's a counter. Combs finds a little room. And Derek got about 9. And Todd Howard made the tackle. Swanee?
Well, Brad, just want to let the folks know about a little conversation we had with Chuck Stobart, the offensive coordinator. He says he has to keep reminding himself to let the players play this game. He says as a coach, you always remember these big ball games and all the bad things that can happen. And you try and protect your team from all the bad things that can happen in the plays. He says, I got to remind myself that the good things can happen too, and let them play a little more wide open.
Chuck's been in a lot of big rivalries. We'll talk about that after this snap. Combs. And I don't think he got the first down on 2nd and 1. Chuck has been involved with the USC-UCLA rivalry, USC-Notre Dame, Utah-BYU, Arizona-Arizona State, Pitt and Penn State, and for the 14th time, Michigan and Ohio State. And he's been on both sides as an assistant here and there. And Bob said to him the other day, which one's the best of all those? And he just tapped on the table and said, right here.
8 years he was at Michigan with Bo. And now this is his 5th year at Ohio State with Cooper.
I walked in with Bo today. We had a great chat. Here's a pass. Sanders lost the ball, and it's going to be incomplete. They say he didn't have control of it before the hit. Larry Foote is the guy that put a helmet on it. Well, that's a break for the Buckeyes.
Yeah, he didn't have control. He got it, and then he saw Foote coming at him, and he just didn't have enough hands to hold on to that football.
That was super slow-mo, and in real action didn't have that long a touch on it. First 3 and out now for Ohio State. B.J. Sander set to punt again. Again, Ohio State taking its time, making sure everybody's accounted for. And Sander got a better kick this time. High kick. Fair catch taken at about the 21-yard line. 41-yard punt. Bellamy with the fair catch. Our Quest greatest moments this week takes us back 50 years. It was the Snow Bowl. Game time conditions for the game featured ankle-high snow, a temp of about 10 degrees. Vic Janowitz somehow able to make a 27-yard field goal. There were 45 punts in the game, including that one that was blocked by Michigan for what proved to be the winning score. 9-3, the Wolverines win it. Michigan continued to the Rose Bowl thanks to a Northwestern win over Illinois later that day. I don't know if that guy was in that game or that guy was in that game, but most people will tell you they were there.
Yeah.
And the crowd would be about 43 million if you listen to everybody.
Hey, I love that type of game. As long as I didn't have to play in it.
Exactly.
I'd love to be up here in the booth, watching them adjust to all the different problems that you have playing in cold and that type of weather.
Vic, one of the 2 guys to have his jersey retired at Ohio State. The 3rd, Howard Hopalong Cassidy, will occur here at halftime today. Here's the throw complete out to Benny Jompru, the tight end. He gets out of bounds at about the 26-yard line. 5:30 remaining in the half. 14-9. Ohio State had a 9-0 lead on a long kick return. They turned that into an 11-yard touchdown. Then they got a field goal from Stultz, but Michigan came storming back. A 70-yard screen pass to Anthony Thomas, and then a laser shot from Henson to David Terrell as our scoring for the day. 14-9.
That's just half the action.
That's
there.
just half the action.
We've had a punt block that was picked up for a first down, a fake field goal that didn't work.
A fake punt that didn't work. 2nd down and 5. Henson, draw play to Thomas. And the running game's going nowhere for either team. I want to go back to the Snow Bowl just for a second. You saw that replay. You could barely see the goalposts at all. But everybody talks about that game. And I came in, as I said, with Bo Schembechler today. And Bo said, Brad, you know what? He said, you know, the day of that Snow Bowl, he said, I was playing for Woody. Woody was the head coach at Miami of Ohio. We were playing Cincinnati, and Sid Gilman was Cincinnati's coach. We put up 28 points in the first half. And I said, how about the second half? He said, you couldn't even see the line of scrimmage. So there were more than one game played in those conditions that day.
They all remember it.
We're down in 3.
Where were you on that date?
Walker sets up in the slot. Here's a throw out complete. Penalty markers down as Askew's got a first down if the flag's not against Michigan.
There was a takedown by the center on the middle linebacker that was blitzing.
So that holding negates the first down.
Watch right here. Watch right here. That's Wilhelm.
Oh, boy. And Brandt didn't like the call. An offensive line that we've talked about at Michigan's got some good players and some great players. Hutchinson right there, 76, one of the finalists for the Lombardi Award.
For the 2 tackles, Backus and Williams, and the guard Hutchinson.
They're good ones.
And you know, when the NFL draft comes up next spring,
they're going to be mentioned,
and probably in the top 2 rounds.
Yeah. Backus making his 48th start, which ties the record for offensive linemen at Michigan of Greg Stropanek. And we mentioned Hutchinson, his roommate, 4-year starters. Henson in trouble. Got away from one man. Flags down. Might have another holding call. And now we got an open receiver downfield all the way to the 41-yard lines. Calvin Bell. But I think they're going to bring this one back too. Henson was in trouble, running for his life back there. And I think one of his linemen probably helped him out.
Brad, they're going to call a face mask. I think it was Richard McNutt who came in reaching for Henson. Just had a hand right across that face mask, pulled it down just a bit.
I think you're right, Swanee. I take it back. It's absolutely going against Ohio State.
On the defense, 5-yard penalty, added to the end of the run, first down.
John Cooper showing his displeasure with the call.
He's into it. Here's a look at McNutt is number 11 right
Yep,
there.
There it is. Good call, Swanee. You're all over it.
Good shot by the crew getting that for us. And Henson doing a nice job of getting away. And the true freshman, it was almost an incidental one there.
Yep. And again, the arm strength of Henson. Most guys can't get that ball downfield when they just have that split second to see a guy open that far.
His old boss is here.
Yes, he is.
Sitting in the stands. I wonder what he's thinking.
At the 36-yard line. First down, Michigan. Thomas, tough sledding for Anthony Thomas. Got about a yard. Let's check in with John in New York. He's got to have about 1,900 yards on the season now with that first half.
That kid is something special.
Anthony Thomas, who came in with the great numbers behind Damian, is having a horrible day. Except the screen pass. I should say he's having a horrible day running the football. Henson again in trouble. Got away from 2, 3, but not 4 and 5.
Yeah.
Brent Johnson, Joe Brown, they're the first guys that tried to track him down, and then Bailey and the rest wouldn't give up.
Got pressure coming from both sides. This is a staple of one of the plays that Michigan likes to run a lot. But you have pressure. You got 6 guys coming. You couldn't get outside and couldn't get it off.
Ohio State, great sacking the quarterback. They're only 1 short of their school record of a couple of seasons ago. They lead the Big Ten. That was their 46th. They only had 29 sacks last year, so they turned up the heat.
They lead in
front ball.
Lead in sacks and takeaways. Third down efficiency for the defense. They're a tough group.
Michigan takes a timeout with 2:28 remaining. At William Oxley Thompson statue out there in front, and here inside the shoe, about 99,000. We don't have the official attendance yet.
That in there is what they've just completed. This is they're doing a renovation on the stadium, and that what you just saw at the end, I guess that's the south end zone, is all new on the scoreboard, and more to come.
As you and I were talking about today, they've kept the horseshoe and still made that beautiful end zone down there.
And they're going to redo this after the season where we are, and put, I think he said three rows of skyboxes on this side of the stadium, and put in 4 new elevators and a whole bunch of stuff.
And the facade outside, the Grand Ole Gal, looks pretty good. They're not quite done yet. Third down and 16. All the third down situations for both teams have seemed awfully long today. Henson gonna load it and fire for Terrell, and he overshot it. Terrell had a half step on Clements, but Drew threw that one too far.
Well, he threw it. When he threw it, he needed to wait a little bit longer because he was just getting past Clements. It's a nice call because you don't think you're going to go deep in this area of the field, and he runs right past him. Terrell says, "Oh, I had him. If you just could have waited." Those receivers are always saying that.
That's right. Epstein gets the kick away. Clements takes it at the 15. And Nate got about 3 or 4 out of the return is all. And with 2:13 remaining in the half, it'll be Ohio State back on offense to see if they can get something going before intermission. So we had a high-scoring and crazy first quarter. We've had some wild plays in the second quarter, but no more points. And Michigan remains in front. Don't forget, coming up on Monday night, it'll be the Washington Redskins against Trent Green now throwing those darts for the LA Rams, the St. Louis Rams. Big game on Monday Night Football, 9 o'clock, 6 o'clock Pacific. Combs on a counter. He's had a couple of those today that have come down this near sideline for good yardage. Picks up 15 that time. And Ohio State now will hurry it up. 44 yards for Combs now on 12 carries, as he had really struggled. In fact, he was negative yardage on 8 carries, so the last few times he's handled it, big improvement. Wells and Westbrooks now in the I backfield behind Belisari. And it's Wells on a draw play. Jonathan Wells cuts outside. Good shoestring tackler. He might have got a big gainer. Todd Howard made the hit. Wells got 7.
Watch the fullback, Jamar Miller, right in here. Jamar Martin. Oh, it's Westbrook. He does a nice job. Martin just when it was in the ball game, he threw a nice block to play before. Westbrook in there for the because it's a 2-minute drill.
Second down, a long 3 now with 1:25 remaining in the half. Belisari fires, completes it to Plovit across midfield at the 49.
And this
got 2 timeouts left.
This is the personnel they had in the game late against Illinois last week when Belisari moved him right down the field. The 2 backs in the backfield, Westbrook and Wells or Combs, and throwing to the tight end side.
He still hasn't hooked up with Cascio, who's been a big play man. Here comes a blitz. Belisari throws. Rambo rather with a catch. Kenyon Rambo at the 36-yard line. And they're moving it right down the field.
Yeah.
Pick up a 13.
He looks more comfortable, Belisari, doing this.
Yep.
As you see Rambo limping a little bit there.
Got that bad knee. He made a tough catch there.
Some quarterbacks feel a little bit more comfortable not in the huddle doing this here.
Here comes a blitz again on first down. This time it might get to him. It does. At the 40-yard line, first sack of the day. Hobson and Wilson are there. And timeout taken by Ohio State with 58 seconds remaining in the half.
There's a linebacker right here. They say enough of this stuff. We're going to get after you. Untouched. Wells, number 28, probably should have slid in and picked up the linebacker.
Swanee Rambo's kind of walking over to the huddle. He doesn't look too good.
No, he doesn't look good at all. He came off in the last play and took a hit, but the very last play, he didn't really come off the line of scrimmage. He didn't look like he could run down the field. It's his left knee, and if he can do anything at all, it's mostly running straight down the field, planting the right foot, and then coming back to his inside to his left. But I'm not sure he can do that right now.
Yeah, you're right.
He's not a deep threat at all, though, is he, Swanee?
Well, he can't be a deep threat unless he's just going to clear out of the zone. And you watch the catch right here, and he goes to turn and just gets down.
Yeah, that thing just collapsed on him when he landed on it after making that catch. It was a really nice catch, and tried to wheel and deal a little bit, and he just crumpled.
He's going to have a future playing on Sunday afternoons. This is the big ball game, and emotionally and mentally he wants to be here. He's a captain. He's an inspirational guy, but he's got to be mindful that he's got a very serious, he's got an injury that could develop into a serious injury if he's not careful.
Well, he kind of limps out to the left side with Cascio. Probit wide the other way. They'll keep it on the ground. And Wells backpedals his way to about the 35-yard line. Coming up on the MSN halftime report. John and Terry along shortly. Belisari back going deep. Cascio just overshot him at the 5-yard line.
Yep. Had a shot. The coverage was there, but there was a perfect throw it would have taken for the completion. In the slot, number 13 has him beat, so he throws his arm up. They didn't have him beat by much, but it was worth a shot.
And they'll go on 4th and 9. They're out of Stult's field goal range, so at the 35-yard line, trying to get something going here in the final half minute, trailing 14-9. Out of the shotgun, blitz on the way. Belisari fires. Rambo's got it. And he's got a first down. As Swanee said, he's going to gut it out and play this drive for sure, and he got 16 yards.
Yeah. I think he's just going to be running a lot of curls today. I don't think he can do much more than that.
But that was good enough, so they moved the sticks. Stop clocks. The clock stops momentarily with 22 seconds left in the half. Belisari from the shotgun again. Going deep. Probit out there. Diving catch. He's got it at the 3.
Belisari looks better in a 2-minute drill than I've seen him all year long. He seems to like the pace and the timing of it. Great throw here, right on target.
Perfect.
This is as good as I've seen him this last drive.
1st and goal, Ohio State. And he has been almost perfect on this drive. And how huge would this be to go to the locker room by regaining the lead in the final seconds of the quarter?
Yeah.
Michigan's going to take a timeout. So everybody can think about what they want to do. Belisari trying to fire up the crowd. He's waving his arms as he comes to the sideline. And they respond.
Well, they're fired up.
Well, guys, with the running game for Ohio State or for Michigan not working very well, here's where I think the tight end really comes into play. You need that big target. You can throw a quick pass to him. It doesn't take a lot of time to develop, and you're in the end zone. Or you get that back coming out of the backfield. But whatever you do, it's got to be quick. And for my money, it's got to be a tight end.
He's used Sanders 5 times this year. A lot of them on that quick slant, Swanee's talking about. And also with a guy like Belisari, you wonder if you roll him out at the 3-yard line and give him an option.
I think, first of all, Ohio State has 1 timeout remaining. And this is not a normal situation. It's 15 seconds, and I think you're exactly right. You roll him out, you get him outside the pocket, and you throw him or let him run it in, and then you've got your timeout to do the same thing.
There's the receivers and tight ends, what they've done this year as far as catching touchdown passes. We mentioned Sanders has 5. Ohio State took this ball at their own 19-yard line with 2:13 left in the half, and now they are in the 10th play of the march and trying to take the lead before halftime. 1st and goal, Buckeyes. Here's Belisari rolling the other way, and that didn't do any good. Dropped back at the 9-yard line.
Yeah, timeout.
And they get the timeout called. I thought if they'd roll him this way.
Yeah, I did too. But until I saw Rambo out here on the left side, and I know he wasn't going to run any tough routes with the bad knee. Right here, number 26 on the end of the line. That's Curry, the strong safety. They were blitzing from both sides, so you were not going to get outside the pocket. That's a good call by Jim Herman.
They're going to bring Stultz in right now and try to make it 14-12. And they're going to talk about that one on the sideline for a while. Michigan with a nice job defensively.
Yeah, see, I don't know if I would have faked anything. I'd just gotten him outside the pocket.
Just get going.
Just get going. Try and cut down the whoever has containment on either side. Roll him to the wide side of the field. Try to get the containment knocked down. Don't fool around with a fake, because that's just going to keep you in the pocket longer for the guys to get at you.
Well, Stultz will come out to try to close the gap a little bit. He's the guy that went 4 for 4 last week, including the game winner from 34 yards out. And they kidded him a little bit about that. They said, Dan, you know, you made that one kind of close. He said, fellas, it's 3 points. It doesn't matter if it's down the middle or an inch inside the upright. 333 career points. He'll try to make it 336 and draw his team to within 2. 26-yard field goal attempt from the right hash. And it's up, and it's good. And it hit the flagpole. That's how good it was. Right in the middle. So Stultz, who hit a field goal earlier in the ball game, has added 3 more. He missed an extra point. But the early lead was Ohio State's. The comeback was Michigan's. They still have the intermission lead of 14-12. In what was a crazy and exciting first quarter, things settled down a little bit in the second. Meeting hoping to be a victor, from Bo Schembechler and through the years to Lloyd Carr. Whether it be Michigan Stadium or here at the Horseshoe with Woody Hayes, and now with John Cooper, always sellout crowds, always the biggest game of the year, always a question as to who would spoil whom's season. And we had quite a first quarter. Big plays by both teams. A 14-9 first quarter. Drew Henson and Steve Belisari putting on a pretty good showing at halftime. It's 14-12 Michigan on the road, leading at intermission. Welcome back, everybody. Brad Nessler and Bob Greasy. You said it early, Bob. Both coaches took that whole bag of tricks and just dumped it right on this field today. And tricks aren't going to win for you, though. And for Michigan, they can't run the football, so Henson's got to carry it. They got to get some plays that's going to work. The other side of the ball, Ohio State, they have been running the ball pretty well, and I think they'll continue to try and do that. But this game will come down to the fourth quarter and at the end of the game, I'm sure. Ohio State to kick. Walter Cross camps under this right at the goal line. Some indecision, and now he brings it out. And got out across the 20 and out to the 25-yard line. And Swanee talked to John Cooper just moments ago.
Coach Cooper, towards the end of that first half, it looked like Kenyon might have re-injured his leg. What's his health status?
No, Kenyon's okay.
He's okay?
He's okay, yeah. He shouldn't be, that shouldn't bother us.
What was your message to the team at halftime?
Win it in the fourth quarter. Win it in the fourth quarter. We played close in the first half. We've made some mistakes. We've thrown the kitchen sink at them. You know, we ran a fake off the opening kickoff. We ran a fake punt. We got to protect our quarterback a little better. We got to make plays.
Simple as that. And Bob echoed that same thing. Play it close, play it hard, and try to win it in the fourth quarter. Here's the opening snap of the third. And Anthony Thomas, much like the first half, little or no gain. Mike Collins made the tackle. And Anthony Thomas, who came into this game 166 yards from a school record in rushing, has 3 yards on 11 carries. He's averaging 149 yards per game coming in. And Michigan comes out, and normally the first few plays you run starting the second half are the ones you've talked about and the ones you think will work the best. That one didn't gain much. Sometimes the ones that can set the tone for the rest of the day, too. Henson with time, throws complete to Walker. Marquise Walker out to the 33, but short of the first down by 2 or 3 yards. Our Morgan Stanley Dean Witter first half statistics show kind of what we were talking about. Drew Henson's 209 passing yards. Look at that third down conversion situation for Ohio State. 1 of 9. They were 3 of 4 on fourth downs, but 1 of 9 on third downs.
They weren't very good coming in. Michigan was very good and just having a so-so day on third downs.
There's a guy having a pretty good day. Long way to go and 215 yards. And 2 touchdowns. 1 to Terrell as wide receiver. 1 Anthony Thomas did most of the work on a screen pass for 7.
He's had some nice long passes.
Here's a relatively short third down for either team. 3rd and 3. Play action. Henson with pressure from Cooper throws another dart out to Walker. First down at 45-yard line.
Whenever you've got a gun sitting on that shoulder, it sure helps, because he looked around and threw this ball late and still gets it out there. The coverage was there, and if the coverage could have cut, if it was a softer throw, is that Mitchell that's on the coverage, could have cut underneath him. But whenever you can throw that ball like that and get it out there quick, the defensive backs hesitate to try and cut in front of you.
Mitchell and Walker and Terrell and Cooper all having a little bit of a shoving match at the end of that play again. Everything's a little bit chippy here as it was to open the game, to open the third quarter. On first down, tight end Joppru in motion. Anthony Thomas, finally a little bit of working room. Got into Buckeye territory and down to the 47-yard line.
Yeah, that offensive line that we talked about at the opening, finally doing something with that defensive line. Take a look at the pit. 78 is Goodwin. 76. There's a nice block by, who is that? Askew? Yeah, he's Askew. Little block, little area for the running back. Backus is up there.
But best run today by Thomas.
But Thomas, exactly. He has had nothing. No daylight at all.
8 yards that time. Second down along 2. He'll get it again. He's going to spin for the first down. Throws a stiff arm on Nicky and got the first at the 43-yard line. So there's the best 2 runs of the day probably for Anthony Thomas.
Yeah, he is not a scat back. He's not a slicer. He's more of a power back, and he does have some moves. Nice footwork there.
Lloyd Carr says of his star running back, he hasn't changed 1 ounce since the first day he showed up as a freshman. He's the same guy, same humble guy, comes to work, doesn't say anything, loves his linemen, doesn't do a lot of talking, just goes out and plays.
And the linemen really want him to get that record.
Yeah, they do.
I think more than he wants it.
Chris Perry now in for him to give him a breather. And Perry will get the call. Here's the 2 freshmen who they think is going to be sensational somewhere down the line. Got to the 37. Nate Clements is there along with Joe Brown.
Brad, I talked to Lloyd Carr as he was going off the field at halftime, and their offense is so balanced, run and pass. I asked him how he's going to get that running game started, but his comment was he was more concerned about the passes he felt the team had dropped. I asked him if he was going to work hard to establish a run. He said, we'll do what we have to win, but he certainly wasn't afraid to go ahead and try and win this ball game, putting it in the air, Brad.
Let's see if they do here. Second down and 3. Got a 2 tight end set. And they'll go with Perry. Puts his head down and got about half the needed yardage. Joe Cooper, number 10. I tell you what, he's been around the football today.
They made a huge effort, Michigan has, starting the second half to run the football.
Joe Cooper, the defensive captain. Guy that took over for Niall Diggs. And the guy that they always said was a tweener. He was too slow, too small, didn't know if he could cut it academically. He's done all of them. Third down along 1. Play action. Henson to throw. Got hit as he released it. It's incomplete. Credit that one to Rodney Bailey. He put the lick on Henson.
You know, when you're 3rd and 1 and you come out the second half and you've got an offensive line like Michigan does, I would think you just go and pound it in there a couple times, because you're in a 4-down zone right here.
Now they got to give it up. 4th and still a long 1.
You go try a field goal, or at least they're lining up for a field goal. This could be a pooch punt by the field goal kicker.
John Navarre, remember, is the holder. Now he comes out of formation and up to center, and they're going to give it to Askew, the fullback. I think he got it. Very close, anyway.
I tell you, they've been working on these gimmick plays for the last 6 months.
You started warning me about Thursday. I didn't think we were going to see this many this quick.
They've finally gotten to use some of them, and I think the players really enjoy it.
And this one's close enough to look at. They don't want to make any mistakes on this.
I mean, they've got the they line up in field goal. Then Navarre, who is the holder and the backup quarterback, gets up and hands it off.
Ask you, the fullback's the guy that gave it the run. And now we check the chains. First down, Michigan. That one works.
Those plays are only fun when they work.
That's right. Ask John Cooper about the fake punt in the first half. Perfectly designed, just not executed well.
Yeah. They've got another play where you line up in field goal, kick a field goal and snap it right to the field goal. And he punts it, little pooch punts down there.
So the 10th play of the drive now for Michigan. As we're over 4 minutes into the third quarter. They've taken it 42 yards. Anthony Thomas back in there at the tailback. They fake it to him. Henson wants to go deep. Scott Terrell out there in the corner of the end zone. Touchdown.
This is just a great adjustment by the University of Michigan. This is the same play they've run all season where the receiver comes across the field. Not this time.
Terrell broke back to the outside and the ball was right there.
There he is at the top. Usually both receivers come across the field, and Ohio State knows that and was looking for it, but not this time.
Boy, did he sell Clements on that one, huh?
That's just good self-scouting by Michigan.
Epstein's point after is good. Nate Clements, who's had a big day in some respects in special teams, but here, number 1 beats him to the end zone, and Michigan stretches its lead. Off the effects of the end of his touchdown play when he actually slid right out onto that red concrete over there as Nate Clements was trying to cover him and couldn't, and it's been Terrell getting the best of number 20. Let's see if Clements now can get another good kick return. He's the guy that electrified the crowd on the opening kick of the ball game with an 80-yard run back that set up Ohio State's touchdown. This one, though, will come to Wells at the 10. And Jonathan weaves his way out to about the 26-yard line as we go back to the touchdown, Bob.
Well, here's a play that Michigan has run forever. Come on down in the cross, and here's Terrell come down and come across. This time when he gets halfway, he's going to stop and go back the other way. Now, Ohio State has studied with these plays, and they know what it is. And right here, instead of coming over here, he goes back the other way. Clement thinks he's coming across the field. Good self-scouting by Michigan to see what they've done. And also, there you see him falling on that concrete.
At the 26-yard line, first down, Ohio State now trailing by 9 again. Here's the toss to Combs. And Combs cuts back to about the 29. So David Terrell starting to put up those kind of numbers that we're used to seeing. 5 catches, 2 touchdowns. They've thrown it at him 10 times, working against Nate Clements.
Averaging nearly 20 yards a catch.
Clements has broken 1 up, but there's a couple touchdowns in there.
Yeah. I'd say so far Terrell's having his way.
He does that to a lot of people.
Yeah, that's no surprise. Yeah. We said coming into this game, if there was one featured player on this field, he was the guy.
2nd and 6. Here's the throw to Combs, and Derek might have a first down. Swanee, we were watching David walking around the sidelines. Is he all right over there?
Well, he appears to be okay. His receiver coach gave me a thumbs up. He limped around on the sideline. I talked to the head athletic trainer, Paul Schmidt, and he said it came down on his right knee. So he's fine. Says he expects that he will be in on the very next series. Right. But this is concrete. This red part is not that soft, spongy stuff that used to be the track. It's concrete.
They dropped the field down here, and he's still working his leg over himself there, trying to keep it loose. Here's Combs across the 40, about the 41-yard line. This is an important drive right now for the Buckeyes after coming back with the late field goal before halftime. Almost got a touchdown that would have given them the lead. Now they see Michigan take it down on a 74-yard march in 10 plays. So it's time for them to answer the call again.
Right, it's their first drive of the second half. As we look at a comparison of the running backs, Combs getting the better of that.
Combs, who's been banged around the last few weeks, is banged up again. He's out of there right now. Comes to the sideline. So Belisari on the roll, pumps and throws. Dangerous. It's intercepted. Picked off by one of the linemen. I think it's Rumashek's got it. James Whitley tipped that ball. Probably shouldn't have been thrown in the traffic it was in, and there's a defensive lineman dream.
Yes. You know, normally that ball's thrown outside. You don't want to throw it back inside that late because there's going to be a lot of guys around it. Michigan not known for many takeaways and not in many interceptions. That's only the 12th interception of the year.
This just doesn't look like it should have been thrown. Well, I guess Rambo was somewhat open.
He was open, but there's so many. If the ball does get deflected, Michigan runs to the ball so well, there's so many people around it. That ball, there was a receiver open on the outside. Should have gone outside with it.
But just when the Buckeyes needed to get something going of their own, they give it right back to the Wolverines, and Thomas goes for 5. Well, that was the second interception of Steve Belisari today. His numbers not what he'd want them to be, nor his coaching staff would want him to be.
You know, he's hot and cold. He looked so good at the end of the half.
Yeah, and that no huddle.
No huddle, 2-minute drill, moving him down. But he's been inconsistent most of the year.
Here comes Trips out to the near side. 4 wide receiver group for Henson. And a 2nd and 5. And Drew's going to put it up. Wants to go long. Got hit as he threw, and Marquise Walker still made the catch. I think he was trying to go to Terrell long, and he got Walker short.
Well, he wasn't trying to go to Walker, that's for sure.
I mean, he was pasted by Clinton Wayne as he let go of the ball.
He was fortunate, very fortunate. Up the middle, there's a blitz on the outside. Mitchell comes on the outside. That ball is just like almost like a duck end over end. And he's fortunate that one of his guys landed under it.
And things are going right, huh?
Yeah, that's for sure.
25-yard pickup on what effectively was a nice defensive play by one of the defensive linemen of Ohio State.
The pressure got to him. The result was not what Ohio State wanted.
1st and 10 at the 12. Anthony Thomas now straight up the middle. Got to maybe the 8-yard line. Joe Cooper is there. Boy, you could hear a pin drop right now in this place.
I was just going to say, a touchdown now, and this would really take the crowd out of it. Offensive line, it's Hutchinson 76 and Brandt 67 doing a nice job on that play. Huge hole.
Buckeyes really need to come up with a stand here, and if nothing else, force a field goal. 2nd down and 6. Japru in motion. Here's Thomas. Hit at the 5 and down. It's going to bring up 3rd down and about 2.
Brad and Bob, you talk about the crowd taking them out of the ball game. That was talked very openly about by the Michigan coaches, wanting to take the crowd out of the ball game, feeling that they would sit on their hands a little bit if they could make great plays. And right now is when Ohio State needs the crowd to be in. They've got Michigan marching into their end zone. If the crowd gets very loud right here, it makes it very difficult for the offensive team to hear and to call the plays. This is when they need them to be at their loudest.
You are absolutely right, and they're trying to answer that call right now. 3rd down and 2. Here's the stretch play. Thomas, the Buckeyes string it out and drop him. So they answered the call of their fans.
Yeah, Bailey on that side did a great job of not getting good penetration up the field and just kind of pushing everything into the backfield.
So it's going to force a field goal attempt.
Watch Bailey, 94 on the left side, gets upfield, and just there's about 4 or 5 yellow pants Michigan players around him. Just couldn't get around him.
6th time today, Anthony Thomas has failed to gain yardage on a carry. And Hayden Epstein now into attempt a 25-yard field goal. Epstein, just tucked it in the right upright. I thought that was going to hit the pipe. 6:07 remaining in the 3rd quarter. John Cooper trying to get his troops fired up. They now trail 24-12. And Ohio State, remember, led this game 9-0 in about the first 5 minutes of the ball game. Part of it courtesy of that young man who had an 80-yard kick return to help set up their first touchdown. He'd like to touch it again, I would think. Not going to get it this time. They're kicking it away from him. Wells makes the catch and goes out of bounds at about the 24-yard line. That's where Ohio State will have to work again. Don't forget Thanksgiving weekend. ABC Sports says more great college football starts Friday with a doubleheader. We'll be in Nebraska to watch Eric Crouch and Colorado. And at 3:30 Eastern, number 23 Texas A&M takes on number 15 Texas. It's all here on ABC Sports, home of the Bowl Championship Series. There's David Terrell. Swanee said was trying to shake off the effects of landing over there hard in that end zone after that last touchdown. And he's got an ice bag on the left knee. They don't need him right now. They just can watch their defense, which has held Ohio State to 15 yards so far this half. And Wells only got about 2.
And
Julius Curry made the stop.
The defense has really played well most of the day. The opening 9 points was off of a kickoff return. They got the interception. They got the 9 points. And since they gave up those 9 points, Michigan has scored 24 points, and Ohio State has only scored 3. So other than that late drive by the Buckeyes at the end of the half, Wolverines have played pretty good defensively.
Second down and 8, 4 wideouts for Belisari. Throws complete. Cascio. And out to the 32, maybe the 33-yard line. Larry Foote made the hit. That's their first catch for Cascio today. He's become kind of a big play performer over the course of the season. Is the leading receiver as far as yards per catch.
Ex-walk-on. Grew up in the neighborhood here. Always wanted to go to Ohio State. Had got no offers. Walked on and finally gave him a scholarship. And now here he is, one of the main players in his 5th year as a senior.
Third down at 2. And they throw complete to Rambo. He's got a first down. Damian Rambo. It's his 4th catch.
Good protection, that offensive line doing a nice job. Rambo at the top. Runs about a 7, 8, 10 yard, just a little curl. Just going down, finding an open area in the zone, and Belisari is finding him.
Even on that bad knee, you got to respect him. And he's got 2 catches on third down today now.
I haven't seen him go straight down the field. Nothing deep. And he's got the most speed probably on the field.
Belisari, dangerous throw, tipped and almost picked off. That was close. Todd Howard got a hand on that.
Well, they weren't together on it. You see Belisari talking to Cascio.
That one tipped in the air again.
He had to get rid of it. He had 2 guys in his face. Howard kind of took it easy.
Whitley came on the blitz. That's what hurried that throw. So it's second down and 10.
Check him out here.
He's getting in the track stance again, or thinking about it.
He's either going to cover the guy, he's going to blitz, and that's what Belisari's worried about.
He drops back to cover. This one is intercepted by Julius Curry. He's going to take it home. Julius Curry, touchdown, Wolverine. Julius Curry just read that one like a comic book and took it 50 yards.
Well, the Michigan defense kind of baited the throw, and they got it. And Curry made the play. Curry sees it all the way. Almost overran it. They've been running that little curl to Rambo, and this time they had in and out coverage. Had him double covered, and Curry made the play.
And a beautiful return for the touchdown. 50 yards. Belisari's been picked off 3 times now today as Epstein adds the point after. And Ohio State at home in some serious danger right now because Michigan has stretched it out to 31-12. 31-12 now with 4:15 left in the third quarter. Turnovers will kill you in a football game, and they are killing Steve Belisari in Ohio State right now because the interceptions and the miscues have led directly to 17 points. As Lloyd Carr's team now with a 19-point lead. Here's the kick. Jonathan Wells in on the kick return, and Wells out to about the 27-yard line. We talked about the turnovers. Remember the interception first by Larry Foote. The linebacker led to Drew Henson's 21-yard toss to David Terrell for the score. That made it 14-9 Michigan. Here's the tip pass. Dan Rumashek the interception. There's a 25-yard field goal. And then just moments ago, it only took about 6 seconds for Julius Curry to just take that misfire and take it 50 yards for a touchdown. So there's the points, 17 off the turnovers.
And the last one wasn't all on Belisari. Rambo is playing on one leg. Really can't drive off, and the defensive backs know it. I mean, those guys know. They're out there with these guys. They know he can't run. So they were just sitting on that curl route.
Here's Wells looking for a place to run, and he can't find any room either. Diggs is there from his linebacker position to make the stop.
Well, it went from 95,000 or whatever cheering fans to a few of them starting to boo.
That's right.
Their own offense.
And Bob and Brad, when Kenyon Rambo can't run down the field and he can't drive the guy off, and then your quarterback sitting there and your safety can just read the quarterback because he's going to stare down that receiver or look in that direction, it's a prescription for a turnover. He's got to take a chance at some point in the game because obviously Rambo is not driving him off the ball.
Ohio State all year long had allowed only 21 turnover points before today, 17 as we just showed you. And that one thrown into some traffic. Oh boy, here they come.
And a nice play by Rumashek, the defensive end, to stay with Belisari and be in his face and not allow him a clean look and a clean shot downfield.
Belisari only 12 of 27 now and 3 interceptions. You saw him with Chuck Stobart on the sideline, getting some quick instruction before he trots back out there to face a 3rd and 13 with 3:17 left, third quarter. Over from the shotgun.
3-man line.
Here comes a delayed blitz, though. Belisari in trouble, got away from one. Didn't get away from Diggs, who had a good series defensively.
Yeah, it's a good call by Herman, the defensive coordinator. Showed a 3-man line, which is something different. Blitzed 2 of the safeties.
Late flag just flew out there. I don't know if we're going to have some sort of unsportsmanlike conduct penalty. That was, I mean, both teams had headed to the sideline.
Yeah, gave him a different look.
This might change things. If this goes against Michigan, it's going to be a first down Ohio State. That's what the Buckeyes think right now, don't they? Well, they got their punting team out.
Dead ball, unsportsmanlike conduct on the offense. It's going to be half the distance to the goal line. 4th down.
Yeah, we had the right call, but it wasn't on Michigan. It was on Ohio State.
They show a 3-man line, but then they blitz the linebacker and the safety. This is just something different for Belisari and the offensive line. They pick up the linebacker, but they miss the safety, and that just throws everything into panic in the backfield.
I have no idea where the unsportsmanlike conduct came about. Must have been something that was said, because, as I said, both teams literally were to the hash marks heading the other way, and the flag flew in there. So that forces a punt from deeper now for Sander. He's going to have to stand in his own end zone.
Well, the second half has been nothing but a disaster for Ohio State.
Exactly.
Ronald going to be back for Michigan.
So now Sander, who's had all kinds of difficulty today, has had one blocked. They tried a fake punt where he threw a pretty good pass.
Perfect.
And he's had a short kick. Not a perfect day to be a specialist, I guess. Hey, he got a dandy here. Great kick. Melanie has to go all the way back to the 35, and he's going down right there. So a beautiful punt when Ohio State needed it. 53 yards, and now flags are flying all over the place again, and the officials trying to get some order out there.
Frustration is setting in right here, and the officials better get control of it, because this game is going south.
They get everybody separated, and we'll see if the penalties are going both ways. Ohio State says it's against Michigan. But they said that a second ago on the unsportsmanlike call, so I'm not trusting them.
Yeah, but the more lopsided the score becomes, is the more the tempers will flare.
It is personal foul against Michigan. So after a 53-yard punt, you can tack 15 more on down in that direction. There's the hit right there. And
that's Fargus,
right.
34.
That's where the flag flew in. So they walk it off back down to the 20-yard line.
First two possessions for Ohio State in the second half, both interceptions. One returned for a touchdown, and the other led to a touchdown.
Ohio State's defense might have to be the part of their group that helps to save the day if there's any saving left in it. To the line of scrimmage, that's about it. College football on ABC Sports brought to you by Chevrolet. If only everything was as dependable as a Chevy. Chevy will be there. Quest, the communications to change everything. Just for men, more than hair color, it's the Rejuvenator. End gray in 5 minutes and look natural. And Morgan Stanley Dean Witter, move your money, get well connected. You wouldn't want to take a dip in Mirror Lake today, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be in there.
David Terrell's checked back in. Everybody's bundled up. They started warning folks yesterday already to dress in layers. It's one of those kind of days. There's the matchup that has gone to number 1 all day long. On the ground, Anthony Thomas, couple of stiff arms, a couple of beauties. The last one on Mike Doss got him a few extra yards. They run him out of bounds at about the 28-yard line. Minute 39 left in the third quarter. Reminder, don't forget Monday night, it's a must-win situation for Washington. They'll take on the St. Louis Rams on Monday Night Football, 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific on ABC. And don't forget Sunday night on ESPN at 8:30 Eastern, the Jaguars take on the Pittsburgh Steelers. A couple good NFL games for you coming up this weekend.
Monday night game will be played indoors on a fast track.
And that means a lot of scoring.
Yes, just so.
Third down, Michigan. Thomas. I don't think so. Needed to get almost to the 31. It looks like they're going to spot him at the 30. And this would be a nice 3-and-out situation forced by the Ohio State defense if indeed that's where the ball's going to be put down. Because they got to get it back, and they've only got 16 minutes and 25 seconds left to do something about it now.
Michigan has had the ball twice in the second half and has scored 17 points. That includes a defensive touchdown, interception for a touchdown. But whatever Lloyd said to him at halftime, it was pretty good.
I thought he was about half the football short, but we'll see. They bring out the sticks. Might have another crooked field here. Yep, we do. First down.
The golf, not the golf gods, but the football gods, I guess I should say, have been on the side of Michigan today.
Do they ever? Anthony Thomas not having a great game on the ground. Remember, he had the 70-yard screen pass for the touchdown. But on the ground today, he has really struggled. There's the numbers. And his season low is 82 yards. That was against Purdue. So unless he breaks a few here sometime in the fourth quarter, he's not going to get anywhere near that all-time career rushing mark at Michigan. But they'll take the win. Like Bob said, he didn't care much about that as much as his linemen do. Here's a counter by Perry, his replacement. And Perry out to the 34-yard line. Don't forget, coming up at the conclusion of today's game, we'll select the Chevrolet player of the game from each team. Chevy will make a $1,000 contribution to each university's general scholarship fund. Steve Belisari trying to stay warm on the sideline and hoping somehow that right arm and that left hand will, or that left arm and left hand will warm up in the fourth quarter because they're going to need him.
Well, unfortunately, some of the guys that need to help him are hurt and injured.
Not making it any easier.
Reggie Germany, his receiver, is not even playing, and Rambo, his other guy, his main guy, is limping around.
2nd and 6. Perry hitting the backfield. Fumble! Michigan, I think, might have scooped it. Askew, the fullback, it looked like it hopped right up in his breadbasket, but let's wait and unpile him.
Who was that? Pickett that hit him? in the backfield. Yeah, I think it was Pickett.
And Askew is the guy in the bottom of the pile. Boy, that was a fortuitous bounce again. So even when Michigan drops it.
Lloyd saying you don't drop the ball in the Michigan game.
That's the end of the third quarter. Michigan in command, 31-12. An ABC Sports presentation of college football will continue after this message and a word from our ABC station. 1-12 as we enter the fourth quarter. Michigan in front. The quarterback comparison been all Drew Henson today. Drew Henson said Michigan quarterbacks are remembered best. They're remembered for two things. One, for winning championships. Number two, for beating Ohio State. Through three quarters, he's doing the latter. Here's the screen. Out to Anthony Thomas. Got a nice block. Maybe too good a block. Flags down. He's gone. Anthony Thomas on the sideline. Touchdown. But a penalty marker at the 35-yard line. I think it's a holding call.
Henson's got his hands on his hips looking over to the bench. And he's staying down there.
That will negate another long Anthony Thomas touchdown. There it is. They threw it and literally almost hit the guilty party, and we knew that one was coming back. And that's a wasted run.
Henson's down there talking to Doss and said, you know who it was on? No, I don't know who it was on, but it's coming back.
Might be Seymour, the tight end, coming back. There's the illegal block from
10-yard
behind.
penalty from the spot of foul. Repeat third down.
That's one he probably could have left alone. Don't know if that would have mattered, Bob. Not sure.
It's close. Take a look right here.
By that I mean I don't know that he needed the block.
I know, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At any rate, that negates a long touchdown. It would have been a 65-yard scoring toss.
You know who that just kills is Seymour. Not Seymour, yeah. But Thomas, nice catch and a long run.
And he's had enough time to actually walk back and stay in the huddle. No, now he's coming out. I thought they'd put somebody in for him. And meanwhile, Nate Clements was the guy that was slow getting up, and he's being helped to the sideline. Now you got to watch out for David Terrell. You don't have Nate Clements out there. He'll go out and meet Mitchell out to the top of your screen. Third down, 16. They'll keep it on the ground, play it safe. Perry hitting the backfield. And it's punting time for Michigan. So what could have been isn't.
Yeah.
Take a look at the play where Nate Clements was shaken up.
Well, he came from all the way from the other side of the field trying to make the tackle.
Anthony Thomas basically stepped on it. That's about what that amounted to. So now this should be good field position for Ohio State. And Nate Clements, who was shaken up, is back in there, getting ready to shag a punt down. And it's a beauty. Nice kick. All the way back goes Nate to the 21-yard line. And he got about 13 on the return. Good run back after being shaken up a play earlier. And an injured player down. We'll check on him when we come back. Mike Doss on the sideline is the guy that just connected with Jeremy Miller on that punt situation. And Jeremy, okay now over on the sideline. He's the long snapper, and he's checking to make sure everything's in the right place. He really got rattled. We'll show you that in a second.
There shouldn't be any big guys on the punt coverage team unless you're the snapper.
And he was. And he wishes he hadn't been. Throw down the middle is complete. Good throw to Vanez Provit, and it's going to be close to a first down.
Here he is, Miller. He's just going to go down, snap it, and then he's going to go down and on the punt coverage. That's number 70.
Watch the hit coming up. Right there. Oof. Mike Doss, he will take your head off. You know, his recent book of choice to read was Jack Tatum's They Still Call Me Assassin. And of course, Tatum was part of that super soft group that was here at Ohio State. I don't know if there's pictures in that book, but he seems to be taken right after Jack.
Yeah.
The way he plays.
He knocked Kittner out of the ball game last week.
And Kittner out for the season with that concussion and that attempted run at about the 2-yard line late in that game last week.
And it was a clean hit.
Yes, it was.
It was nothing wrong with it. Just good, tough football.
As was this one a minute ago. So it's second down at 10 coming up. 13-15. Ohio State needs to get something going in a hurry. Rambo trots out to the near side. He's caught some passes today, but he's more of a decoy than anything else with a bad knee. Belisari running, got a man open over the middle and got it to him. Drew Carter, and Carter's down inside the 40 near the 38-yard line. Nice job that time by Belisari, buying himself some time till he could find an open man.
Howard on the coverage. There's a little holding there. Starts clapping his hands as I'm open. Get it to me. Those young receivers get excited. Redshirt freshman.
Ohio native on the first down. Just inside the 39. Belisari pumps once. Now he's going to go deep. Can Rambo get to it? Not quite. On a good wheel, that's a touchdown. You can see him. He looks like a horse in a race pulling up lane.
Yeah, and it's tough. It's tough to go without your horses. We mentioned Germany is not playing. It's got to be a little move and go. Yeah, a little stop and go. Just threw it a little bit too soon, and there is no speed in his leg. That's normally a 4.4 guy right there.
He would have run under that thing easily.
He's going about 4.7 today.
So he'll come out. Second down and 10.
Yeah, Michigan defensively knows it. They're sitting on him. That was a good call to try to go deep on him. Just didn't connect.
Belisari running for his life. Throws into coverage and knocked down by Todd Howard. Incomplete.
Single coverage down the field, and he did a nice job of just throwing it up, hoping that his guy could go up and make the play. Get
it's
pressure.
Rumashek that got the heat out.
Yeah, Rumashek is doing a nice job of just pressuring, and Howard a nice job of just knocking it down.
Rumashek had an interception earlier, remember, that led to a score. Comes up with a near sack there, a quarterback hurry that'll go in the books as.
He's had a couple of quarterback hurries that when Belisari has been outside the pocket. Rumashek only one sack coming into the game this year, but really chasing the quarterback down.
Third and long's been the story of the day for Ohio State. Belisari going to throw across the middle. Cascio makes the catch. Fumble. He's down though. And Cascio shaken up. He got necktied by Curry.
Ohio State can ill afford to lose another wide receiver.
Collard right around.
Gets hog-tied.
Yep. And they got him sitting up. That's a good sign. 12:21 remaining in this one. Reminder, a lot of football coming up next on ABC. BCS bowl bids are on the line. How about Oregon and Oregon State, the Civil War? And some other regional action. Purdue can go to Pasadena with a win over Indiana. Number 1 Oklahoma in action. South Carolina and Clemson. That'll be a dandy. And we'll wrap up the day at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. Number 4 Florida battles number 3 Florida State. Check your local listings for details or get all the games on pay-per-view by calling your local cable operator and satellite company. We asked this earlier. Should age be a factor in the Heisman consideration? And we were talking about, of course, Chris Weinke being 28 years old. And you just saw him in action on that highlight. And of our folks on the online poll, 74% said no.
Yeah, that's good.
That's good.
2,000 voted.
And we appreciate you joining us on that.
That's good.
We should have had all those folks in the room with us last night.
Yeah.
We had a lot of opinions going around, I'll tell you that much. Here's a little bit of option and a deep pitch to Combs. And he runs smack dab into one of his own men.
Yeah, Whitley did a great job of pushing his man back into him. Back into Combs.
Now, Bob and Brad, when we talk about that poll about Weinke and what was it, 74% said no. And that's a good indication that age for most of the public will not be a factor. But if it came down to 24% of the folks saying age is a factor and the voters voted that way, a guy like Chris Weinke with competition from, Josh Heupel and Drew Brees, that could be the difference in whether he wins it or not.
No doubt about that. There's been some people that say that they wouldn't even consider him, which I think is crazy. But then,
yeah, and I disagree with it. The age should not be a factor. You deserve to win it. You should win it. But
Swanee, have you been down in Florida counting votes?
He's the only one who hasn't been. Here's Belisari going on top for Provitt. Incomplete. And a flag down.
I think we can get him a job down there.
I only count the votes for octogenarians.
Penalty marker in the backfield. And Belisari got up limping after taking a hit. It's going to be a holding call on the Buckeyes. They're going the wrong direction. They need a score. 11:43. They still got some time if they could get a touchdown. BCS standings look like this coming into the day. Oklahoma, of course, in action as we talked about. Florida State, Florida. That situation, if Florida State beats Florida, would they leapfrog over Miami regardless of what the Hurricanes do against Syracuse? That's a question mark that we'll find out the answer to over the course of the day and the weekend.
A lot of games today and tonight, and then the championship games in the Southeastern Conference and the Big 12.
Belisari dancing around, finds an open man. Got it to Provitt down at the 16-yard line. Man, that's a nice catch down there. Again, Rumashek was the guy getting the heat on Belisari.
Here's a look at the games ahead. Oklahoma later on today. Miami is at Syracuse tonight. Florida State, Florida's that big game tonight. What do they call that game in the Washington one?
The Apple Cup.
The Apple Cup. Yep. There you go.
Done that one before. They'll get after it a little bit too. And of course, Washington. Rose Bowl hopes alive. Same with Oregon and Oregon State. Down the middle, tip pass, and caught by Ohio State. Provitt again on a pass intended for Sanders was tipped by Diggs, and he went up and got it. That's his two best catches of the day. One on plan and one not planned.
It's a good play by Provitt just to stay in the ball game, and you know where the ball was going to go most of the time. This play is going to the tight end, but he comes back, keeps it alive, and picks up a first down.
10:50 remaining in the ball game. Ohio State trying to get down there, get a touchdown, and make it a ball game. Provitt goes out to the left, Carter to the right. It's Rambo, the motion man, out of the slot on a first down. Belisari throws that one into the crowd.
Well, he had a slant coming on the right side, and he said if it's not there, just throw it away. And that's the way he was coached, and that's what he did.
So the current drive's gone about 3.5 minutes and traveled 56 yards. And the hardest 10 is still ahead of them.
You know, you talk about these rivalries going on with the Apple Cup and all that other stuff. Did you see that the Cal-Stanford game, they're going to give a breathalyzer test to the two mascots?
And they probably should.
There's been some history in that rivalry between the mascots.
Yeah, I don't know if we'll have a 5 lateral game today. We got 8 games on ABC today. That's the only one that doesn't have some kind of implication for bowls, and it's still the game out there. And it's as big to them as this one is to folks in the Midwest. Curry knocks that pass down, and now it's 3rd and goal.
This Michigan defense has played very well today. I mentioned early on, they were like a Jekyll and Hyde. They played well at home, but not so good on the road. They gave up, they were averaging 35 points on the road. And Jim Herman has got them playing much better than that here today.
And they only gave up 35 all 6 home games. So that's how bad it was one way and the other, and they have turned it around here today.
The two big problem offenses for them on the road were Purdue and Northwestern.
Those spread offenses got to them a little bit. 3rd and goal. Here's the fade to the corner. And flags down as Todd Howard was up in Rambo's jersey, and he's saying he was pushed, and Rambo's saying it was the other way around.
Well, here you are at the top. Take a look at it. That's got to go on the defensive guy. The offensive guy's trying for the ball. Even though the defensive guy's back, Howard's back is to him, he still blocked him and screened him off from it. Did a nice acting job. The defensive backs are getting smarter all the time.
Brad just found out on the Ohio State sideline that the senior wide receiver, number 13, Chad Cascio, won't be back in this ball game. He has a separated left shoulder.
Oh, boy. Well, we saw him go off on the cart.
Excuse me.
We saw him go off on the cart moments ago, so his season done and his bowl game probably history, too.
Yeah.
So now with a penalty, here's Ohio State right down on the Michigan goal line. First and goal at the 2.
That was a good call by that official over on the sideline because, you know, it looked like, it was a tough call because the defensive back had his back to him like he wasn't doing anything, but he was still blocking him out.
Wells has the only Ohio State touchdown today. He's got another one now. Jonathan Wells, touchdown, Ohio State. 2 yards out. And there's still hope in Columbus.
So you're down by 13 points.
They're going to kick it.
Good kick.
Still a lot of time left in this football game. 10:20 to go. And Dan Stultz, who missed an extra point earlier, is in to attempt one here. And he's got this one. 10 minutes and 20 seconds remaining in the football game. Ohio State trying to battle back in. Jonathan Wells' second touchdown run of the day. Jonathan Wells' second touchdown of the day. Packed house record crowd, 98,568. Along with yours truly, Brad Nessler, Bob Greasy, Lynn Swan, and Lloyd Carr lobbying for his next call.
Yeah, he's talking to the official that made that call in the end zone.
Sunshine now over the shoe. David Terrell making sure there's enough bodies out there on the kick return. Those are the two important ones, Chris Perry and Walter Cross. Stultz to kick. He'll kick away to Cross at the 5. Nice kick coverage down there. And it's Derrick Ross who makes the tackle at about the 18-yard line. You know, we had a chance to talk to some of the great players who played in this series. This was an interesting one we got as a remembrance of Ohio State and Michigan from one Brian Greasy.
The time that we were in Columbus and we were losing 9-0. My dad comes on the air and he says, I came in the game, our quarterback got hurt, and he says, well, you know, Ohio State really needs to get some pressure on the Michigan quarterback, knock him around a little bit. I'm like, what is he talking about? See if he says that.
You can't do that to your own kid, but you did.
It was the truth. It was the truth. You know, that was early on when I was doing his games. Of course, I don't think it got much better.
That's right. That's when you just called him Greasy.
Yeah, well, that's the way I started out calling him.
Here's Henson on to give to Thomas, dropped in his tracks. And we know Brian's got some great memories and some great plays over the years in this series, including one as we look back. Remember this one. Sean Springs fell down and Ty Street said, I'll take that one and take it all the way home for the touchdown. That was a big, big play in that matchup. And there's Brian back in his maize and blue. And now with the Denver Broncos. And Brian, we wish you well in your recovery. I know you and your dad talked this morning, and what a great game on Monday night. Boy, that was fun to watch. The making of a quarterback in that one. That was guts. 2nd and 10. Henson getting a little bit of pressure. Almost dropped the ball, and now they'll drop him. Well, Ohio State's not done breathing yet.
They're trying to get back into it, and this is the way they do it. This is the strength of their ball club, is their defense.
Mike Collins made the tackle.
You know, talking about going back, and I've really talked about Brian and doing the Michigan-Ohio State game, but, you know, we didn't get to do it the year before, but that year we did, and so I was calling Brian. They wanted me to call Brian by his first name, so I said, all right, if you do that, I'm going to call the other quarterback by his first name also, and I'm going to call Cooper Coop, and I'm going to call Lloyd. You know, I'm going to call everybody by their first name.
That works.
Yeah.
Here's Henson. Big play here for the Ohio State defense. Lost one out for Terrell, and Clemens got the best of that one.
Out of bounds.
Knocked it away.
Yep. But the momentum is beginning to change a little. The crowd is getting back in it. It's a good matchup right here.
Here's two all Big Ten guys, maybe All-Americans. And Clemens at the last instant got a hand on it and forces a 4th down in a punting situation.
Well, they may be, well, not may, they will be playing against each other for many, many years. And Terrell's just signaling, tell him to throw it a little higher. Let me jump for it.
We're going to try to come after that kick. Clements camps under it, waits on the 41-yard line. Didn't fair catch. Now trying to find some help. Got a block. Got another. Across midfield is Nate Clements. Here comes Ohio State. We'll see what they do with it on offense when we come back. They trail by 12. Action coming up following our game, including the big one tonight in Tallahassee between Florida and Florida State. Here it's 31-19 Michigan, but Ohio State trying to mount a comeback. Belisari rifles it to Rambo through his hands. Not a bad pass. Rambo just couldn't handle it.
Yeah, he had a man there and could have made the play, but didn't.
Steve Belisari has thrown 3 interceptions today. Last year he was 8 of 20 in this game for 84 yards with a couple of interceptions and also threw 2 touchdowns, though. Today, no touchdowns and 3 picks, but he's trying to drag his troops back into it. 4 wide receiver group for Steve here from the gun. And a guy wide open out of the backfield. Jonathan Wells on the run. Wells broke a tackle or 2. Another. And Wells has got it to the 21-yard line. First down, Ohio State. 25-yard pickup.
Wells, number 28, just slides out of the backfield. Tackle. Foot misses. You have to tackle him. Whitley misses. Bad technique there by Williams. Somebody's got to come up and make, you know, we talk about all the different X's and O's, but it's still a game of blocking and tackling. Poor tackling there by Michigan.
Remember Wells and Belisari, the guys that brought him back to beat Illinois last week. Belisari going to the end zone to Provitt. Couldn't get there. Provitt had his man beat. And Howard says, nope, not today.
It took a while for him to beat him, and it didn't beat him by much. And the quarterback couldn't wait much longer, and that was the thing with, you know, Howard had pretty good coverage on it, and it took a long time for it to develop.
Last week against Illinois, when Ohio State was behind, Steve Belisari, as we said, maybe put on his best drive as a quarterback. There's what he did, throwing and running, and Wells had a 9-yard reception that might be one of the best catches you'll see all year that kept the drive alive and helped him to the game-winning field goal. Now it's Belisari, play action to Wells. Now he's going to take off on his own. He got inside the 20, down to about the 18-yard line. Big 2 plays coming up. You're not going to stop down here. It's 3rd down, but that won't matter. They're going to keep on going. 3rd and 7. There's the 2 backup quarterbacks. Greg Krenzel, Scott McMullen looking on. One's a dummy call, one's sending in the real play.
Yep. And he's sending in the real one right there.
And Jim Herman, the defensive coordinator, is sending one in for his guys in maize and blue. 3rd and 7. Carter to the near side, Rambo to the top of your screen. Belisari waits and fires. Rambo's got it. Touchdown! It's not over. He might be hurt, he might be banged up, but as Swanee said earlier, he ain't going to quit. Stoltz for the point after. Up and good. It's a 5-point game. Belisari with a perfect throw. Kenyon Rambo for the touchdown. Don't go away. Unanswered 4th quarter points. They've cut it down to a 5-point game. And still a lot of time left. 7:03 remaining. As Kenyon Rambo, their captain on offense, hooks up with the other offensive captain, junior Steve Belisari. on a touchdown that capped a 46-yard drive in a hurry in 1 minute and 25 seconds. And the game is very much in the balance now. Here's a kick. Walter Cross from the 4. Cross tattooed at the 21. Let's check in with John Saunders in New York. John, if Matt runs quicker than Gary used to or not?
I think he does.
I think he does too.
No doubt about it.
Well, that's good. We got Brian Greasy in and we got Matt Danielson in. They both used to sit in the corner of the booth and keep their hat down over, and they had braces on, and now they're both quarterbacks. And don't forget Gary will be along with Brent Musburger and Jack LaRoute for our huge game in Tallahassee tonight. Florida and Florida State. Can't be much better than what we got going on right now. Right here. 6:55 left. Michigan trying to protect the lead. Henson, screen. This one went 70 yards for a touchdown the first time. Thomas on a cutback to the 40. Nate Clements knocked him off his pins, or he might have been on his way again.
Yeah, and that's a good call. Good call by Stan Parrish. The offensive coordinator knows that they're going to be coming after him. They know they're going to put pressure on him. So just block him for a second, slide him outside. Little dump. Nice block over there by Brandt, the center, 67. Williams, 54 out in front. Good call, good execution.
Michigan trying to hold on to the lead. They've lost 3 games this year, as I mentioned earlier, by 7 points. They've lost all of them after leading in the 4th quarter. There's Anthony Thomas' numbers today. 2 big receptions, one a 70-yard touchdown. Blitz coming. This time it's Thomas Carrier. Got the corner, ran over Donnie Nicky, but didn't get the first down.
And did a nice job of not going out of bounds, staying in bounds and keeping the clock rolling. Michigan sometimes has a tendency of, when they get big leads in the second half, of sitting on it and letting the other, and not doing anything offensively, just running plays and letting teams catch up. And Ohio State has done that.
And Bob, you're absolutely correct. I was watching them on the sideline the entire second half. They did not throw a pass from their own side of the field. And this drive, it's important that they keep Ohio State defense a little more off balance and possess the ball.
2nd down and 3. Thomas banging his way for a first down.
Anthony Thomas carry.
Anthony Thomas, in his final regular season game, just picked up an all-important first down. And don't forget, one of those losses this year would have probably been a victory in that high-scoring affair against Northwestern, if not for this play. Anthony Thomas. This one against Illinois, this one was questionable whether it was a fumble or not. And then against Northwestern, there's no doubt it was. And really, he was in the open field by himself. Northwestern recovered, went on and won that game. And now Anthony Thomas just got a big first down here to keep a drive going. They're just going to keep feeding him. That time, he's fed his lunch, though, by Cooper and Wilhelm.
Yeah. And if Michigan wins this game, and if they would have beaten Northwestern, they would have gotten the trip to the Rose Bowl.
And they know now, or we know now, that Michigan cannot go regardless of the outcome of this game, because Northwestern, as you saw with Matt going in on that touchdown run, is throttling Illinois. And that was one of the scenarios that Michigan had to have. They had to have Northwestern and Purdue both lose. Remember, Purdue will be starting in about 10 minutes against Indiana. If they win, they go. That we know. Ohio State, if they can pull off a comeback and Indiana would upset Purdue, they'd go to Pasadena. Henson sets in the pocket, going deep for Terrell. Too deep. Incomplete. Clements and Terrell again. Number 1 and number 20 joined at the hip today.
Yep. Like the call, going deep. Ohio State probably thinking that they're just going to try and run the ball out, and Michigan goes downfield to their big play guy.
Don't forget, I just mentioned the Indiana-Purdue game. That's one of the regional games we'll have coming up for you next. We'll have a big one down in Clemson. Those two teams don't like each other much. Oregon State, Rose Bowl implications there in the Civil War. And at 8 tonight, Florida State in Tallahassee. And that one will have national championship implications. It is 3rd and 10. Ohio State's got to have a stop here.
Here they come.
Blitz from Cooper coming. Henson stands in for Terrell again. Again, Clements is there and breaks it up. Only one catch in the second half for Terrell.
Ohio State blitzes, they pick it up pretty nicely, give him enough time to throw. He gets hit pretty good low. And here's what you see downfield. That's just pretty good coverage.
Yes, it is. Epstein to punt. They put the pressure on. Did they hit him? No flag. And now Nate Clements on the other end. There is a flag. Penalty marker after a 35-yard kick. Might have an illegal block down there on Richard McNutt, who was one of the first to try to help Nate Clements spring free, and that's going to make the job, the task at hand, that much more difficult for Ohio State now. If that penalty goes against them, they're going to be deep in their own territory, and that'll be the case. So we've got 4:14 to find out who's going to win this one. 14 remaining in the football game. Michigan leading Ohio State 31-26. Ohio State's got the ball back. Lloyd Carr said, I liked it a lot better when I was coaching for Bo, and there were only a couple games a year you had to win. John Cooper said this week, quoting Shakespeare, what more can you ask a man than to give it all within his span? To give it all, it seems to me, is not too far from victory. Well, right now, they are 91 yards away from victory. That's a long way to travel. Play action for Belisari. Sidesteps the rush. Going to go deep. Rambo's open.
Out of bounds.
He's out of bounds.
He was open behind his man, but the motion of running and throwing carried the football out of bounds.
Wow, would that have been huge? Belisari says, my fault. If I'd have thrown a little bit more the inside, we'd have had a big play.
Yeah, see, when you drift that way, the ball just drifts along with you, running to your left, and he just throws it out of bounds. If he would have thrown it more in bounds down the field, he would have had him.
And thanks to the great play by Rambo, actually didn't hold on to it anyway, but it was only about 6 inches wide of the stripe. 2nd and 10. Belisari play action. Going to come the other way this time. And Carter has it broken up by Todd Howard.
You know, Belisari's got to be commended for doing what he's doing in the second half. The last 2 possessions, they've scored touchdowns, and they have not done it with some of their top receivers. Right. Reggie Germany is out. Cascio was taken off the field with a separated shoulder. Combs has been banged up throughout the week. And Rambo, his other wide receiver, is slowed because of a knee injury. So he's doing it, but he doesn't have the main guys on the outside like he'd like to have.
Rambo has made 3 big catches on 3rd down, though, today. Let's see if they try to look to him on 3rd and 10. Belisari in trouble, lofts one across the middle, and not quite a first down for Wells. Boy, he was crawling and scrapping and fighting, but he's about, I think he's about a yard short. Now, wait a minute. Pretty good spot. Looks like we got 4th and 1.
Well, you got 3 timeouts left if you're Ohio State. You got 3 minutes and 30 seconds, so they're about left on the clock.
Belisari
looks to his left, comes back, dumps it, and is hoping for a short pass and a big run.
And Wells almost did it for him.
He almost got out of it.
It is 4th down. They're 3 out of 4 on 4th down today. They need another one here. Wells, I don't think so. The Michigan sideline doesn't think so either.
I don't know. I don't know about that one. You got 3 minutes. You know, it's you can be second guessed either way on this one. You got 3 timeouts left. I don't know. It's a tough call.
Still unpiling bodies, but I think he's farther back than he was before the snap of the ball.
For sure, if you go for it in this area and don't make it, the game is over.
These officials are going to make very sure of this. Jim Lapatino says, let's bring the chains out. We don't want to call this one just by sight lines. Wells took it straight up the middle, and that middle of the Michigan defense really made a nice charge.
I think both coaches already know from the coaches upstairs that are looking at this.
There it is. Length of the football short. Michigan takes over.
They're going to the right side. That's Gurr, 65, that pulls. Fleming's on that side, as is Hopkins. But so is Foote and Wilson.
And Bob, I don't disagree with the call. You know, I think it's a good call to go for it. 4th down. The way Michigan has been controlling the ball and what their capabilities are on offense, I think you give them the ball this late in the ball game. Even if they don't score, move it down the field, they still put it down. You got a long way to go.
Michigan with the ball now. Everything going their way. And here's Anthony Thomas breaking tackles.
Again, falling down before he gets out of bounds.
And we're under 3 minutes. No, we're right at 3 minutes. It would take a defensive miracle right now for Ohio State. College football on ABC Sports brought to you by Dodge and the nearly 3,000 dealers who invite you to come see what's different. Dell, Burger King, got the urge, and Nortel Networks. We're building the new high-performance internet. Brad Nessler, Bob Greasy, Lynn Swan, and our ABC crew in Columbus, where Michigan is in the lead with 3 minutes left. And don't forget, Indiana, Purdue, South Carolina, Clemson, Texas Tech, and Oklahoma, Oregon, Oregon State, all in regional action next. And then Florida and Florida State tonight at 8 o'clock.
Well, Purdue be going for the Rose Bowl. Haven't been there in like 34 years.
Haven't been there since you didn't have any gray hair, I know that.
Since we took them back in the 1966 season. And we were talking with both of these coaches, John Cooper and Lloyd Carr, about the fact that next year you'll be playing in this situation. You will not be going. The champion won't be going to the Rose Bowl game.
Unless you're going to the big game.
Unless you're going to the championship game, because next year the Rose Bowl has the BCS championship game.
And both coaches said almost the same exact quote. It's going to be a shame.
Yeah, it's be a sad day.
Sad day.
When you play all year in the Big Ten and not reward the team by going to the Rose Bowl.
And it appears neither one of these teams are going there either. Yes, Ohio State comes up with a defensive miracle. Anthony Thomas up the middle, spinning his way down to the 5-yard line. It's 1st and goal. And 2:55 remaining.
And I'm sure as he runs through those holes that he remembers and thinks back to the fumble back in Northwestern.
Yep. 55 of his 56 yards have come in the second half, so he's not going to break Jamie Morris' career rushing record, but he has had a sensational career in his own right. Not today.
Yeah, maybe in a bowl game.
And he did have the screen pass for the touchdown, remember?
He's done his damage in pass receptions today.
1st and goal, Michigan. And here's Thomas again. They'd like to get him another touchdown because he's closing in on Ty Wheatley's all-time touchdown record. He's already broken the rushing touchdown record. He's got 53. He's added a reception today. And John Cooper, going to be a long night for John if the score holds up, because you're always judged on this game. And the timeout has Ohio State with just 1 remaining. And we got a break here. Let's check in with John in New York. All right, John, those should be some dandies coming up next. Our Chevrolet players of the game in this one: Drew Hansen of Michigan with 3 touchdown passes, and Michael Doss with 12 tackles for the Ohio State defense. In recognition of their efforts, Chevrolet will make a $1,000 contribution to each university's general scholarship fund. That's a guy that's going to get better and better, number 2. And there's a guy that already is awfully good, number 7.
Just a junior. He'll have another year.
And now the officials see if there's a discrepancy on the clock. Oh, guess we're all set. So 2nd down and goal at the 3-yard line. Anthony Thomas, and he stopped short.
Anthony Thomas carried.
Another timeout. That's it for Ohio State on the timeouts.
Coop can't get the clock stopped soon enough.
Nope.
Run in there again and kick it.
That's the last time they can stop it.
He's talking about letting them in there kick a field goal.
Here's the Big Ten in the Rose Bowl and the number of appearances. Michigan tops the list with 17. Ohio State with 13. And that season next to it is the last trip that they made. And then you go all the way down to the bottom. Oh, Purdue.
That may change today.
Well, Drew Brees is certainly hoping so, and so are the Purdue folks.
People, walking to the game, they still, when the Ohio State fans see me, they still think of Michigan and my son Brian.
Right.
And I say, heck with Michigan. I'm not a Michigan guy. I'm a Purdue guy. I'm rooting for Purdue.
Well, we'll be trying to keep track of that one as we head out of here. And that's one of the regional games you'll see as soon as we're done.
Well, what Coop wants them to do is hold Michigan, force them to kick a field goal. That would make it 34-26, an 8-point advantage that would give Ohio State an opportunity to go down and score, and 2 points would tie it up.
And if they don't get in here, does Lloyd Carr even think about a field goal? Or maybe jam it in there again and make them go 99 yards if they don't get the touchdown. They're out of timeouts. And again, the officials, I don't know what the problem is. If it's the play clock,
it's got to be the clock.
I think they're going to start keeping the clock on the field or start it up, one of the two. And Lloyd's upset on the sideline. Has kind of taken his players out of sync. They've been waiting 5 minutes to snap this ball. Third down and goal at the 2-yard line. Two tight end set. It's Anthony Thomas again, and he's hit and stopped again. Nice job by the Buckeyes defense. Matt Wilhelm met him in the hole, the middle linebacker. Clements was there. Doss was as well.
You almost feel like if he would have stayed on the ground and not jumped, he might have been able to run this ball in. He had to jump over a player that was laying on the ground, but they looked like there was some gaps where he might have been able to run it in.
So now the clock is going to wind down. And Henson comes back out. Michigan is going to do, I think, what I thought they might do.
Well, they got a 5-point lead. The one thing he's going to do is run all the seconds down on the clock before he takes a timeout.
If they do kick a field goal, they might even take the penalty. No, they're going to finally take the timeout with 1:23 left. Now they come back to the sideline, and here comes the field goal unit. So they are going to kick the field goal. Don't forget, regional action, some great games, some great rivalries and matchups will follow our game, including the Civil War of Evers home to the Ducks. Rose Bowl implications there. Same for Purdue. If they win, they go. Clemson's already in their bowl game. And then tonight, national championship implications. Brent Musburger, Gary Danielson, Jack Arute will be in Tallahassee as Florida and Florida State get together in a big one. That's all on ABC yet to come today. So it's a triple-header day.
Always a big one down there.
Yep. And this one in its 97th renewal. Started over 100 years ago. And it's come down to a 4th and goal and a minute 23 left. And a 5-point game. Epstein's out there all by himself. If he does kick the field goal, Ohio State's going to get another chance. What he doesn't want to do is have it blocked.
Yeah, that's the one thing that you don't want if you're a Michigan fan, is a block and picked up and go the other way.
So the last 2 minutes of this game has taken as long as the entire third quarter did, as everybody is moving their chess pieces around here and trying to use as much clock as they can. And the ball, meanwhile, sits just outside the 1-yard line. Epstein, by the way, today is 1 for 1 on his field goals. Longer than this one would be. This one's actually shorter than an extra point.
Bob and Brad, I've been covering a lot of football games and covered this rivalry on a number of occasions. But I just want to point out, that I think number 7, Drew Henson, coming into the Horseshoe for the first time as a starting quarterback. You know, yes, he's got a lot of weapons around him, and Marquise Walker and David Terrell and Anthony Thomas, but he came into this ball game not having the experience of playing in this environment and played a very smart and controlled football game. You very seldom see that kind of performance by a quarterback in this environment for the very first time. And I think it was critical, not just to the performance of the team, but to the attitude of this football team to be able to control the ball and move it in key situations down the field and not get down early in this ball game.
He's back out there, Swanee, because they're not going for the field goal. They made Ohio State think they would. And it's Henson rolling around to the end. If he scores, it's over, and it is. Touchdown, Wolverine. The guy that Lynn Swann was just talking about calmly with the play fake, the bootleg, tucked it on his hip, and skips home for a Michigan win.
Big-time play and a big-time call.
There's the smile that Lloyd had 3.5 hours ago when he took to the field, because he was that excited and always has been in his 22 times being involved in this matchup. And it's going to be a happy trip back to Ann Arbor.
And the mobility and the athleticism of the quarterback allows you to do this type of thing. Gutsy call. Lloyd did not want to kick the field goal for fear maybe he got it blocked. This puts it away.
Again, the smile of the coach tells the whole story. And his quarterback, who said they judge you on 2 things if you're the Michigan quarterback. One is winning championships. The second is beating Ohio State. And much to the chagrin of the Ohio State defenders and Bullard, who is being consoled on the sideline. I think that's Reggie Germany maybe over there trying to make him feel better. As Bob said, he's the guy that was supposed to keep him tucked inside. And one play can make or break your season as far as how you think you did. And that's the one, I guess, that Bullard will remember.
Yep, that's right.
And this kid will remember this one for a long time. 3 in the air and 1 on the ground. Quite a performance.
I'll say. Strong arm. Just learning. Wish I had his future, huh? Baseball or football, huh?
It's just a matter of which account you want to put your money into. I'm a little bit partial because I guess I'm a football guy more than baseball, but I sure like to see him in the NFL. I want to thank some of the folks that helped all season long and on our ball game. Thanks to John Coral and Charlie Vanacore. PTR McGrath, our statistician. Clint Deans, our spotter. Anthony Holman, celebrating his 5th anniversary today without his wife Donna, is with us instead. Our technical operations manager is Jay Gleason. Michael Heskets, our production manager. Fred King, our associate director. Our associate producer is Praven Martin. Technical director Brad Sheldon. Our game's been directed by Chip Dean and produced by Jay Rothman. Our coordinating producer of ABC's College Football is Bob Goodrich. Our director of productions, Bob Toms. The executive producer of ABC's College Football is John Filippelli. And the executive producer of ABC Sports is Howard Katz. Well, we expected a good one. And right down to the very last couple of minutes, we were still wondering who was going to win. But that was just determined on Drew Henson's 1-yard bootleg for a touchdown with 1:18 left. And now it would take pretty much a kickoff return for a score and an onside and a recovery and all the rest for Ohio State to have a chance. Of course, they think that to the very end.
Yeah, you're right. You're exactly right. We need a kickoff return for a touchdown is what they're thinking on the state side.
They're trying to keep that from happening. They've been trying to keep it away from Nate Clements all day after the opening kick. He took 80 yards back, and this is a touchback. So at the 20-yard line is where Ohio State will have to work. Steve Bellisari, a tough day, 3 interceptions. He did keep him in there, though, and threw that touchdown to Rambo a few minutes ago that made it look like the game was still in doubt, which indeed it was. But Drew Henson had a screen pass to Anthony Thomas for 70, threw a couple to his favorite receiver, number 1, Dave Terrell.
The interception was a tip ball. But he, that young man right there is the difference. He and Henson is no question the difference in this game.
Belisari steps up, and now he'll run with it. And what a move he put on out there in the open field, and Belisari down the sideline. And they're going to say that he stepped out at the 46. Pickup of 26.
Belisari is a good athlete. He came to Ohio State a couple of years ago. He's a true junior. He's in his 3rd year and played on special teams his 1st year.
Was a great safety as well as a quarterback in high school.
Boca Raton, Florida.
Here he throws, incomplete.
Pass incomplete was intended for
was there covering. So many times these two teams have spoiled the other's season in this final game. And in this case, it's going to be a day spoiled at home for Ohio State. 4 wideouts for Belisari. There's 63 seconds left. Fires the deep end, incomplete.
Pass incomplete.
Victor Hobson got a shot on Belisari that time.
I think with a win here, Michigan would probably be looking at a citrus invitation.
Northwestern's going to be in the mix as well with their impressive season.
Right.
Ohio State will be maybe out back bound, still yet to be determined. Wisconsin will be going bowling somewhere. Over the middle, thrown behind the intended receiver, Ricky Bryant. Wisconsin's season is not over. They've got a game against Hawaii next week, but that doesn't count. It's
like
a 12th game.
Bowl game for them, isn't it?
Penalty marker in the backfield. Personal foul on Ohio State. Well, there's the two guys that have been playing together forever. Steve Hutchinson and Jeff Backus, roommates, kind of the odd couple they call them. Hutch came from Florida, Jeff Backus from Norcross, Georgia, just down the street from where I live. And started off, Hutchinson was actually on defense. Backus on offense said, you know, we didn't hang around together much that first couple months, and then they moved Hutch to offense, and they've been playing about 48 games together on that left side.
Right next to each other.
Yep. And that guy obviously was glad that they were leading the way for his 4,000-plus career yards.
Yep. So they go out winners on their last ball game against Ohio State.
They'll have a fun rest of the afternoon and tonight. On the way back to Michigan. Belisari flags down, running for his life again. And now finds a little seam, shows that speed. Belisari cross midfield. Remember, penalty markers were down a long time ago at the line of scrimmage. Another 23-yard run by Belisari. .46 seconds remaining. Illegal procedure negates the long run. And they declined a penalty. That was not a first down, so Michigan will take over.
Well, with Michigan's win here, that'll be 5 wins in the last 6 years. The game that the Buckeyes won a couple of years ago here at the stadium.
Michigan's going to look back at the season and say, geez, we lost 1 by 3, another 1 by 3, and 1 by 1.
Yeah.
And they'll finish up 8-3. And they'll be considered co-champions of the Big Ten, but they won't be going to the Rose Bowl. That will belong to Purdue if they beat Indiana. And there's the final knee. Maybe one more play. Don't forget, a lot of great regional action yet to come, including the Purdue game, Purdue and Indiana. And Lloyd Carr, as Bob just said, 5 of the last 6. That's pretty impressive. That's what keeps the hometown folks happy, and 2-10-1 doesn't. And John knows that. He knows that you get judged by this game. His team played well, but the Wolverines played better. Michigan wins it. 38-26 is the final score. Don't forget, coming up next on ABC, a lot of big games with Rose Bowl implications and all the rest, including that Purdue-Indiana matchup. And then later tonight, Florida and Florida State in Tallahassee. ABC Sports is